shack at. The bottles getting empty up the crack and we stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced, leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Friday, February 23rd to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. I mean, I can't even begin to describe the roller coaster ride I was on yesterday and last night with my action. I mean, it's just, I don't wish this on anybody. I was under the assumption, for 17, 18 years that a career in stand-up comedy and as an actor was the most difficult thing you could do. It's not. Handling this is, I'm very curious to find out the average age of, professional cappers and gamblers. And when a professional gambler and capper hits 60, or less even 50, it should be a celebration. I mean, and then 60. I mean, we should that's 100 years old. For the regular person, 100 years old. For a capper, it's 60. I went 0-6 in NBA last night. 0-6. And I turned a profit overall. The first periods, now they were happy. I mean, there were full unit bets here. The first periods -0.5 with the Lightning and the Penguins lost. My NBA got off to a horrible start. And, and we're 30, 45 minutes into this 7-hour, 8-hour roller coaster ride that doesn't stop. Doesn't matter if you puke, cut yourself. This ride is going. Good God. Now, one thing that it does do is it fills me with excitement. I am so excited to do it again. No matter how awful that ride was last night, let's do it. And let's get paid. Get this money. Let's do it again. Tori Coker in the house. Milwaukee Bucks money line. They will win outright. I have made 2 bets in NBA. It's astonishing. I'm having just a terrible run in NBA right now. And yet I attack it. Yet I'm like, don't worry. I'll take care of this. I am on the Bucks first half +2. The pig milk play of the day. Fairfield and Quinnipiac under 159.5. Billy Friedrich. The pig milk play of the day. Good God. The pig milk play of the day is rolling. Fairfield, Quinny. Let's get to that spot here. Fairfield Stags, the Quinnipiac Bobcats. Who doesn't want to talk about that game? Actually, I love Fridays. I love these small schools. Billy Friedrich says honorable mention Niagara -1.5. Kent Davies got Niagara last night before they switched to faves. How about that overtime winner for us? I got an overtime winner. Pat Kane also gave me an overtime winner. And I'm telling you, I'm going to start getting overtime winners. Look, my record in NHL is an abomination. It's abhorrent. What other AB words can I come up with that mean something negative? Abysmal. But I am going to fix this or I will stop doing the show. How about that? Not only that, I will just disappear. How about that? Find me in a forest somewhere. And I won't last long in that forest. Maybe 6 hours. All right. So, Kent, we got the Flames, though. Oh, God. The overtimes. How is anybody handling 3-on-3 overtimes and you got money on the game? I mean, it's just, Jesus. All right, Truth Teller in the house. Truth Teller been hammering tennis all morning. He's ready to rock. Joey Hart ready to go. There's MJ Striker, Real Deal Prime. Kent Davies on Nucks Hawks. First period under 1.5. It's not the Nucks. You mean Jets, Hawks. By the way, I'm hammering the Nucks tomorrow against the Bruins. Hammer. And by hammering, I just mean at least a unit and a half. I mean, let's be clear with. I don't even think it'd be a 2-unit play, but probably, but still a unit and a half to me is still hammering. Okay, so Justin McKelvey, Bowling Green plus 4.5 is the stacks play of the day. Let's get that copied and pasted here. Bowling Green, we have a pretty nice card, for us. Not overwhelming. We can handle it. Sometimes we have these cards for Bobano that are, and we know we're going to hammer every single game on the card with Bobano. So sometimes they're a little overwhelming. This is not one of them. Ian Shaber now is Gerald Jones upgrading his membership to PSR Gold. Gerald, that means you're in line for our horse race. $50 horse race at the end of the show. $50 up for grabs, and Gerald Jones is in business. The nerves and everything that I went through. And then coming out of it, unscathed. As much as I fear for my future doing this every night, I love it. And I can't wait to do it again. And I can't wait to do it when we're all in San Antonio. And there's no place I'd rather be right now than right here, getting my card together. It's one thing for me, like I have a family, I get the kids down, and then it's a 7-hour roller coaster of mayhem, highs and lows. That's pretty cool. It's God, it's a lot. Serious business in the house. Smooth balls play of the day from Jay Smooth. It's another thing that you let go of, when you have a young family. It's smooth balls. I don't. It's just not good down there. Let me tell you that. Haven't looked down there in a while, but I'm just imagining that things are not going well down there in the ball region. Let's see here. The Green Bay -2.5 against the Mastodons of Purdue Fort Wayne. Who doesn't want to talk about PFW Green Bay basketball? God, nice to be a goddamn gambler and know how exciting this is. Kent Davis has grabbed 20 units yesterday, all on the Flames, all in, lost several years of my life. Oh, man. How gorgeous was the Pat Kane overtime goal? Those 3-on-3 overtime goals are always gorgeous. All right. Let's go. Best bet for Gerald Jones in Nevada -9.5. Ian Shaber also on Niagara pre-flop. There's Barry Roselle in the house. Slatsy ready to get to work. There's Jay Peasy. Tori Coker says Orlando was easy. Too easy. Shockingly easy. The Bucks to win the Central went from 275 to plus 230. We'll see what happens after they, if they don't handle business against the Timberwolves. A very interesting basketball game. We're going to learn a lot about them tonight. Morgan Spooner. And Morgan, I want you to know how we talk about, Pistol Pete Loshak talked about the importance of listening. And, it's in life, just listening. And Morgan Spooner talking about how he thinks the Red Hawks, he's got them to win the conference. And they're third right now. There's two clear favorites, and they're third. In the end, I doubled up on Seattle. And you were in my head, Morgan. Those were important cashers, very, very important cashers when you go, 0-6 in NBA. All right, Morgan Spooner says Islanders' best player is done for the season. This Islander coaches who beat Purdue last year in the tourney. Cody Norton, Green Bay money line as well here for Cody. I'm just gonna put that right under Morgan's action here. Let's get that copied and pasted. There's Troy Torrance ready to get to work next Friday. Troy Torrance will be opening up his NBA account here on Betting with the Bag. Kong's Clips ready to go. There's Razor Sharp Picks. We got exciting news. Razor and I will be promoting it. Next Saturday, we are back with the Thoroughbreds. Razor Sharp Picks and myself will be co-hosting the huge day of prep races for the Kentucky Derby, the Fountain of Youth, San Felipe. Is it the Gotham? I think it's the Gotham as well. I can't remember all of the stakes races, but next Saturday, all day, all night. Be sure to have gone to the liquor store prior to the event all day, all night. We're 8 days away from that. Shout out to Razor Sharp Picks. I can't wait to rock with them for a full day. All right. Kelly McKinnon calling Phoenix first half, them falling apart. Because I ran with Razor on Phoenix. That was one of my losses. That was frustrating. But I made a ton of it. It was my fault. Everything was my fault last night. Everything was my fault. Cody Norton also on Fordham money. And there's the full Gulfstream card from Razor Sharp Picks. Look at that. The full Gulfstream card from Razor Sharp Picks. Let's have that copied and pasted. Razor, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Slatsy going to talk about this Jackets game. A very, very, very interesting one with the dad's trip in Buffalo. And I may do something with that. And Taint is in. Speaking of my hideous Taint. Man, I remember when I was younger. That Taint looked good. No longer. Taint play of the day is in. So a lot of love for Green Bay. Von Polo in the house. Kent Davies says his nuts were in his throat. I won't call you on that. There's Chang. My man Chang in the house. Says, for you, Jimmy, I'm going to take you and your partner's best bets and parlay it and drop 100 on it. So we'll give you one from me, one from Bobano, and one from Dutch. So really, I don't, maybe do a little rec. We'll do friends and family today for our guy Chang, who is friends and family. Sammy Calmer ready to go. There's Rem Most. Rocco Rogers ready to go. Slatsy says he will find me if I'm in the forest. Oh, that surprised me. Okay. No Kong. No word from Perky. But if he's watching right now, you always say how you're going to be there for us. We are here for you. So please give us a way that we can reach out to you, because you shut down your Twitter account. We can't. So we're thinking of you, Perky. We're sending love to you and your family. You can handle this. You can get your family through this. You can lead them through this by example. And we want to be part of the help. So let us know. Thank you for mentioning that, Kong. Okay. Let's get to work here. So we have a ton of work to do. JP says, you see me in the forest in a fight with a bear. Don't help me. Help the bear. Oh, yeah. That's that's Muhammad Ali, isn't it? Muhammad Ali. Remo says, and by finding a forest, he means taking a long walk in the streets of Parkdale. I've never been, ganked in Parkdale. I guess you just walk like you belong. Parkdale's always been good to me. And when they call Parkdale, like, the biggest hood or the biggest project because they have Regent Park and you have Parkdale and then you have Jane and Finch. I'm always shocked. I'm like, really? You don't put Parkdale on that? Just a bunch of crackies, really. All right, let's get to work. Steve G says Red Wings trash win. Well, we capped it beautifully because Gokster came very close to moving on the Avalanche team total under, and I was on the Red Wings at plus 124. So it still was a beautiful cap, regardless of the overtime finish. Speaking of cap, the waffle play of the day, now 7-0. The waffle play of the day, starring Dabby Cab, now 7-0. 7-0. Shout out to Dabra Cadabra. Even when he's not betting, he's winning. It's a winner right there. That is a winner right there. Okay, let's go. Great to see all of you guys there. Cheshire said he wanted to stab someone when he was watching Red Wings Abs. Come on, that Pat Kane goal was a thing of absolute beauty. And Stimmy OG says it's my birthday, 44 today, and he's having the worst month of gambling of his life. I don't like hearing that, Stimmy. 44 today. We'll change that, and we are the same age, Stimmy. God, you got to come through. You got to come through San Antonio, Stimmy. Got to come roll with the fam here in San Antonio. We are the same age, 44 years old. Orange Juice Octopus. Everybody looks ready to rock. I tell you what, I am ready to rock. Gift Cartel says the pressure was on yesterday, wasn't it? I can't even. It was the most. Honestly, I don't remember starting off losing those first periods, even though those were half unit bets, and then basketball getting off to a terrible start. I can't. I guess words can't really explain the roller coaster ride that we travel, and I wish it on no one. I wish it on no one. Okay, so let's get to work. First off, North Ender giving a shout out to Sammy Calmer for his post on Paolini. Got him off to a 1-0 start today. Let's go. Let's attack. Let's get ready to work. Thank you for joining us. Let's lock in. Let's focus. Let's be sharp, and let's get paid. Let's start the weekend with fatter pockets, or at least take a little bit of the stress away from our lives. All right. Let's fucking go. Bring on your first guest. There's Lucky Lefty. Says cash rules everything around me. Cream. Love it. Let's go. Wu-Tang quoted in the chat means we're going to have fat pockets this evening. Please welcome. Speaking of Wu-Tang, we got now. I know if I was to say Black and Yellow, you might not think of Wu-Tang. There's other rappers that have tried to take Black and Yellow, but we know who the Killer Bees are. The Woo! Please welcome from Canada's Black and Yellow, Hamilton, Ontario, Canada's Steel Town. I think Hamilton's tougher than Parkdale, honestly. We still have it's just crackies running around. No one's scared of crackies. Please welcome Mr. Ian Cameron to the show. Bobano, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. Actually, it's funny. I have a Wu-Tang Clan t-shirt from a concert of theirs in Kitchener from like 6 years ago. Doesn't fit me anymore because I put on the pounds, but it's still around here somewhere. What's up?
Nice, man. No, people, we want tight Wu wear, man. We want tight Wu. I've missed Wu wear, man. Wu wear. How about FUBU? Did you rock FUBU?
Oh, back in the day, I don't think I did, but I know a bunch of buddies of mine did.
Did you rock cross colors? Did you rock cross colors back in the day? Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
My friend Mehdi Shokri, he had the pants with the yellow leg, the red leg, and the green back leg, and I forget the color of the other back leg, but it not a good look. All right, let's get to work here. Nasty Nate rock cross colors. Who didn't rock cross colors, man? Who didn't rock? Colin Cliff rocking that FUBU for us by us. Sweaty Butcher said Wu-Tang now Vegas residents. I'll be doing shows all the time.
See a show there, 100%. Yeah, that's on the old list of things to do.
Well, let's get to, who's coming to Toronto? Slick Rick. Slick Rick will be here for his first time crossing the border.
Good.
Now, there is concerns of him crossing the border.
Yep.
As always. So, but Slick Rick, man, I would love to get the storyteller in here. But let's get to work, Bobano. We have a lot of work to do, and we have not been delivering in NHL. Not delivering in NHL. We have lots of time left. This is a time of year when things really come into focus. I expect us to succeed as we move forward. Now, when I say we're not succeeding in NHL, you are succeeding in your draws.
Yep.
Your draws are 5 and 16, hitting at 23.8%. You're plus 2.4 units. Your ROI is plus 11.43%. Your average line is plus 365 in your draw record. Yesterday was, it's better than it looks. Looks 5 and 4 plus 1.51 units, but I only had the half units on the Lightning and Penguins first period minus a half, which both lost. But Penguins minus 1.5 cash, Lightning minus 1.5 did not. It's not been a very good, as you can see by my NHL and NBA record. It's been a bad run for me. And so I took the money out of my 365 account to pay the piper. And thankfully, because that Tampa Bay Lightning live bet at plus 380 when they're down 2 goals, and then the fourth goal for the Capitals doesn't count.
They suck right now. They're so bad right now, Tampa Bay. They really are.
But that would have been something I don't know if I could have handled, not cashing that live bet, which I know I would have made. So
they're at the point they just got to worry about making the playoffs because they could miss now. That's where they are right now.
Yeah, and this is the denouement. Like they're just going to keep going down. They're not going to be any better next year. So Lightning minus 1.5 loss, Flames plus 110 cash, Red Wings plus 124 cash, Blues plus 102 cash, Leafs minus 102 cash, and Kings minus 1 at plus 106. And Vegas, we talked about it yesterday. Ad nauseum really about what happened. Now, sure, they're circumventing the cap. They're cheaters. And now they have the option of bringing back Eichel because they can keep Stone out. Remember, one of them can't come back until the regular season is over for that to not count onto their cap. Right. But with those two guys out of the lineup, who cares how strong their defense is? They're a fade. All right, let's get to work right now and fire away. as you see from our man Jose Bouquet. He has set our table. 7 p.m. Eastern, Buffalo Sabres 25-27-4, 13-11-3 on the road. The Columbus Blue Jackets 18-27-10, 19-9-14-4 at home, Nationwide Arena in Columbus, Ohio. I've got Luukkonen versus Merzlikins. Luukkonen's, I don't know what to make of Luukkonen. Sometimes I think he's a good goalie. Sometimes I think he's awful. His numbers aren't bad. 2.52 goals against average, 911 save percentage. We are talking about a team that's missing Owen Power and Matthias Samuelsson. Owen Power dealing with a hand injury. He won't be out for long. Samuelsson won't be back till next season. Those are two of your top three defensemen coming into the season. Buffalo power play at 14.9%. The surprising statistic is their 80.2% penalty killing. Columbus power play at 13.9%, 75.8% penalty killing. Merzlikins is emotional. He's not a rock back there. I don't know when he's going to. I think he's talented, but it takes more than that to succeed. It's just like, so similar to baseball. There's 162 games. Can you play every single day? Can you keep your routine and keep everything going every single day? And he's not able to do that. The Sabres, though, have Olofsson sick. Who cares? He's an absolute bum. He's not even scoring power play goals anymore. Jack Quinn, and he's not coming back for this game. And Jack Quinn has a lower body injury. I'm a huge believer in Jack Quinn. I think he's going to be a monster. It's too bad he's not healthy. Blue Jackets finished their 4-game road trip with a 7-4 win at Anaheim on Wednesday. And even that, they're up 4-0, and then the Ducks come back and tied up at 4. But Johnny Hockey is starting to look pretty good. That was an absolute beauty of a goal he scored. He likes it quiet, man. He likes it quiet. No fanfare. He doesn't want people watching his games, cheering. He just wants to quietly play. I wish there was a team in Siberia that we could send him to so he could just enjoy playing in a quiet facility. He pisses me off. All right, let's get into the line history here and hand it over to Bobano. We're not going to look at the cash flow. We don't care. So here we go. It's the dad's trip. And it worked in Montreal against the bad Habs squad. The Buffalo Sabres open up -130. They're now -144. I can completely understand this is a bad spot for Columbus coming back from the road trip. And Buffalo is locked in, and they have their dads there. Slatsy's hammering them. Should we do it as well? Rocco Rogers has moved on Sabres -1 at +119. Sabres first period money line. This is the final game of the dad's trip. It's just the Montreal-Columbus. I'm sure the Montreal was the highlight with the strip clubs. Nobody's I shouldn't say bad things about Columbus, Ohio. I've not been there, so I don't know if it's a fun place to party at night. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Sabres, Blue Jackets.
Yeah, I think this is a very pro-Buffalo spot. No question. This is brutal for Columbus. 3rd and 4 nights. They had back-to-back against LA and Anaheim. Now they're back home with just one day in between this home game and that LA and that Anaheim game. So that's even worse when you have a team in that kind of situation where they only have the one day in between games. So this really should be a situation that sets up very, very nicely here for the Sabres. They've actually played Columbus pretty well for the most part. 3 of the last 5 meetings they've won in Columbus. They've actually played extremely well there. They've won back-to-back games in Columbus, 9-4 and 5-2. So they just put a ton of goals on the board against this Jackets team the last 2 times they've played at Nationwide Arena. So I really think it's a spot to really like Buffalo here. I'm going to go about it with I actually have 3. I'm going to go with 3 different ways of going about it here with the Sabres, because we need to get on the positive, and I feel this is a really good spot here, at least positive on the show. I'm actually having a slight profitable season overall, but the Fridays have been tough. So we need to get a spark going here. Buffalo -0.5 +170. First period puck line at Bet365. Buffalo full game money line -135 at Betway. And we're also going to go with Buffalo team total over 3.5 in this game. I believe that is +100 at Pinnacle. Let me just make sure that it's still it's actually -108. So it's actually moved up a little bit. I still like it. Over 3.5 -108. And I like this full game over as well. So 4 bets on this game, Jimmy, for me. Buffalo -0.5 +170 first period puck line. Buffalo -135 full game money line. Buffalo team total over 3.5 +100. And Buffalo Columbus over 6.5 -116 at Bet Rivers.
Columbus over 6.5. What was the juice on the over 6.5?
-116.
-116. Look, I'm interested in joining you guys. Slats is on those 3 bets, not the full game over. But the dad's trip.
The reason I'm on the over, it's a huge series history over. It's not a spot I project Columbus to have their legs defensively, especially. And you look at head-to-head. I mean, look at these. Other than the last game, before that, we had 9-4, 5-2, 5-3, 9-4, 7-3, 4-3, 7-4. I mean, man, one over after another head-to-head.
The last time, of course, I'm going to go to it because of vividness bias. We were in this exact same situation on the show.
Yep.
You guys were all on the Pittsburgh Penguins at Minnesota, and I joined you guys. Your breakdowns, your chat was on it, you were on it, and I thought it was a coin flippy spot, and the Wild won 3-2.
Yep.
That's in my head. I'm going to try to get it out of my head and join you guys.
And the dad's trip, that's really what pushed me toward going in more on Buffalo, was the dad's trip. They did play a very good game for the dads against Montreal. You could tell they were locked in. They were competing defensively. Luukkonen played well in net. You can tell they dug in just a little bit deeper, certainly deeper than we've seen Buffalo dig in a lot this year, because the dads were in the house, and obviously that's the case again tonight.
Steve G saying Tage is being invisible this season. That would drive me absolutely bonkers if I was a Sabres fan.
Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate. I did not see this coming with him.
16 goals, 16 assists, by far the worst plus minus on the team after 47 goals and 94, 97 points last year. It's hard to watch. All right. I will join you guys on the Sabres. I will only take them on the -1 line and leave it at that. But I can understand.
Like, he's on pace to not even hit 30 goals this year. Like, it's going to be an effort for him to get to 30 at this point.
And we see this so often right at this age. I mean, who's a perfect example of a tall center who signed this huge contract, and I thought he was going to be an absolute monster? Sean Monahan.
Yeah. Man, I mean, that's, yeah.
Now, he didn't have the offensive abilities of Tage, but, I thought he was going to be the center of Team Canada.
Yep.
And then he just goes away, goes away for a long time. Okay, let's roll here onto game 2. 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Winnipeg Jets 34-15-5, 15-8-3 on the road. The Chicago Blackhawks 15-39-3, 11-15-2 at home. We're at United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Connor Hellebuck and Peter Mrazek listed between the pipes. First off, I've been mentioning the special teams for the Jets over and over and over again. They're going to come back and haunt them in the playoffs. But they're a very complete hockey team with a great goaltender in Hellebuck, who hasn't, been as consistent as he might like over the last little while. The Jets continually play down to the level of their opposition. And so we went over that the last time they played San Jose. We went over exactly what they'd done against San Jose and Chicago, so we don't need to rehash that. But this is not a team, and they could do it tonight, granted, but this is not a team that I want against a bad hockey team to win by margin. They're a professional group. They do the job. They keep it clean. And these teams have played, 3 times? I don't have it in front of me, but I don't know if 5 goals have been scored in the game between these two teams yet. The 3 unders, and I don't have those numbers in front of me. I just remember from looking at it, so someone would have to pull that up. A Real Deal Prime says, don't write him off. No, we won't write off Tage. We've seen, even look at Panarin last year to this year. I mean, look at Austin Matthews last year to this year. I mean, these things happen. North End says if the Jets find a power play, they are built for the playoffs. It's not just their power play, it's their penalty killing, which has been improving. It's been improving. But yes, and they'll be buyers at the deadline. So Winnipeg comes in off its 4th win in 5 games, 6-3 at home over Minnesota on Tuesday. We were all over that spot. It was a perfect bounce back opportunity for them. The Jets are a healthy group. Blackhawks coming off their 2nd straight loss, 10th and 11 games, 3-1 at home to the Flyers on Wednesday. Zaitsev and Connor Murphy are out of lineup for Chicago, and Murphy was playing like $19.50 a game, just under 20 minutes a game. Let's get into the line history in this one. This is sitting at 5.5 at -112. I told you all 3 games have gone way under, and that even made me think, is this the over game? And I was like, no, stop playing God. I can sit back and not bet it just because they keep going under. That's fine. Leave it at that. Don't say, oh, this is the one that'll go over. I mean, although I do not like the unders as much with Bedard back in the lineup. And I almost bet that Flyers Blackhawks over. And going into the 3rd period, I would have expected that over to cash. And halfway through the game, I would have expected that over to cash. And then it wouldn't have cashed and I would have lost it. So all in all, nothing for me. This money line opened up at minus 265, and there was no move towards the Jets until 1 minute ago. Now there's been a 7-cent move to the Jets. Take it away for us here, Bobano, game 2 on our 3-game slate before we get into our college basketball. Again, 29 games through NHL, college basketball, and NBA. Every single one will be capped right here. Take it away, game 2 on our card, Blackhawks Jets.
Yeah, I mean, this one, look, Winnipeg's been pushed by Chicago. You know, it's been close games. Nothing has been easy. Winnipeg is 2-1, but they won at home 3-1, and I believe it was an empty net goal putting that game away. And then, of course, they lose in overtime here in Chicago. The one time they were here earlier this season, 2-1 in overtime. Winnipeg 2-1 at home against Chicago on January 11th. And that game, by the way, Winnipeg scored the game-winning goal with 1:05 left, Nick Ehlers, and it was that close to maybe going to overtime. This is my draw today, Jimmy. I really think we're going to have a tight game. I don't think this is a greatest of spots for the Jets coming off a win against Minnesota the other night. They played Calgary and Vancouver, 2 rivals on the road before that. Now you're going on the road. You're facing a Chicago team that, look, Chicago still with Bedard back. They've struggled to win, and the offense is still not really firing on all cylinders. But you could also say since he's been back, you know, they had the 3-2 win against Ottawa at home. Carolina was a tough spot. Obviously, Hurricanes are playing great. What a huge win for them last night against Florida. And then they lose to Philly 3-1. I don't think they played that bad. They outplayed Philly. They outshot Philly 33-22. You know, they had their chances in that game. So Chicago plays tough at home. Winnipeg has shown no evidence of beating this team by margin or easily this year. It is a bit of a flat spot, in my opinion, here for the Jets tonight in this game. And look, when you look at the series history, we had a 3-1 game in the Peg. The one game here in Chicago did go to overtime. And the last game in Winnipeg was 1:05 away from going to overtime. So we've seen lots of close hockey. There is tremendous value at plus 380 tonight at FanDuel on the draw. And this is it. This is my one draw tonight.
And we weren't here last Friday because I had the flu. But if we go back to the Friday before that, Blackhawks Rangers in Chicago. I had the Rangers, and I was so confident in them on the minus 1.5 line. You had the Rangers team total over 3.5 as you felt like a cleaner look. 3-1 going into the third period. I think I'm going to cash. 3-2, the Blackhawks empty their net. I still think I can cash. And Dickinson scores. I mean, I was at my mother-in-law's, in the corner watching the game, and I was just like, oh, good God. And that went to the draw, which would have paid out huge. Now, you still cashed on the over 3.5 while I lost my puck line. Bobano on the draw at plus 380. I want nothing to do with this hockey game. And we move on. Next up for us, although, the Winnipeg, Chicago is there'll be a ton of Jets fans at the Blackhawks game and things like that. It's about 6 hours down from Winnipeg. And, Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, they used to call Prince Albert Little Chicago. That's where Capone brought all the liquor through Prohibition days. So there's fun stories about all of that. But let's roll on. Slat says Petman and Winnipeg to talk to Jets owner about dwindling attendance, but it's okay for the Yotes to play in front of 5,000 fans. Yeah, it's extremely okay. Let's not talk about that Mullet Arena and the Coyotes. Let's move on because Quebec needs a team. 9 p.m. Eastern, Minnesota Wild 26-24-6, 12-13-2. I mean, Quebec City, of course, because the problems that Quebec has the Habs. At the Edmonton Oilers, 33-18-2, 17-6-2 at home. Rogers Place in Edmonton, Alberta. Marc-Andre Fleury listed. I'm not sure if he is going to go. We'll have Bobano confirm that. And Calvin Pickard in net. Good, because what a horror show from both Skinner and Swayman in that. I mean, just rebound after rebound after rebound. It was just unbelievable. Edmonton didn't. I mean, there was no McDavid. There was no beautiful goals, and they still put up 5 and had the overtime power play and didn't score. When every gambler knows if you're on it, you have a bet on a team that has a power play in overtime and they don't score, rip up your ticket. It just seems like that is the case. Minnesota power play at 22.7%, penalty killing at 74.5%. Edmonton power play at 26.3%, penalty killing at 79.1%. For me here, I have no idea why everybody in the world wouldn't want to bet Edmonton on the -1 line at this price. Edmonton at home under -200 on the money line. I will bet on the -1 line every single game for the rest of the season. They are so deep. Now, in that loss to Boston, Evander Kane was on this long shift, and then they iced the puck. And of course, who did the Bruins put on? The Pasta, Marchand, and McAvoy. And I knew it was over. I knew it was, Kane skating so slow out there. But it's not Kane's fault necessarily, although he made me want to smash something in that minute or so. But this Edmonton team is as deep as I've ever seen them. This is the best Edmonton Oilers team since 1990. Will they be able to deliver in the playoffs? Because that 05-06 team delivered in the playoffs. They had Pronger and the 23-year-old Jarrett Stoll. They had really nice pieces of defensive accountability. Does this team have it? Look, I can't answer that. I have the 9-1 from the beginning of the year, but Minnesota comes in off a 6-3 loss at Winnipeg on Tuesday. Zach Bogosian's day-to-day with an upper body injury. We know that Spurgeon's out for the year. Foligno and Maroon are out. I mean, if you think of Bogosian, Spurgeon, Foligno, and Maroon, what are those for? Those guys are playoff guys. Those guys are your accountability, your leadership, your defense, your all the things that you need to succeed in tough hockey games are those four guys right there. And those four guys are not around. Nugent Hopkins was sick. He missed Wednesday's game and Thursday's practice. It's unclear if he will play, if he will be available tonight. I could tell he wasn't out there. He's Burnaby Winter Club kid who I'm a fan of. And I hate to go to this again, but we're going to get an NCAA next. But my alma mater in hockey, my club team, they had Griffin Reinhart and Morgan Riley on defense. This is way years after me. And they played Burnaby Winter Club in the Bantam AAA finals. And Burnaby Winter Club beat my team 4-1. And Nuge scored 4 power play goals in that game. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Minnesota Wild, Edmonton Oilers. I'm on the Oilers -1. I didn't give you guys a line history. Why don't we touch on that? This line is moving towards Minnesota. I've dealt with a lot of that in the last little while. We have a 14-cent move towards Minnesota. That's just shocking to me. From a total standpoint, this is at 6.5 -124 to the over. Look, I'm on the Oilers, and I will take them every single opportunity I can under -200 on the -1 line at home. Take it away, Bobano.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bounce-back spot, surely, after the Boston game, which they lost to the Bruins. Although the one concern here is they've got Battle of Alberta tomorrow night on deck against Calgary here. It's obviously a huge game, but, off a loss, look, this is where you want to usually bet Edmonton, right? When they don't win the previous game. They've been good off a loss. They lose to Vegas, which snapped their almost record-setting 16-game win streak. They beat Anaheim. They lose to LA, they bounce back, they beat Detroit. They lose to St. Louis, they bounce back, they beat Dallas. And the one common thread with Edmonton after these last 3 losses where they've won, they scored 5, they scored 8, they scored 4. Why is that significant, those 3 numbers, 5, 8, and 4? Because all 3 would go over their team total tonight in this game. And I think that is definitely something there's a lot I like in this game. That's something that I much prefer that. Half the time when Edmonton wins, they score 4, more than half the time. So that's for me whenever I'm interested in Edmonton in some form. I don't do money line. I don't do reg line or puck line. I just go team total, and that's what I'm doing here. Edmonton over 3.5, -128 at Pinnacle. Not only that, though, but I'm doubling up on overs in this game for multiple reasons. Over 1.5, -1. Let me see here. That price is a little juicy. That's a little too juicy for me, I think, with the first period. You know what I'll do instead? Because I actually did bet over 1.5. It was around -155, -160, but I don't want to use that for show purposes. It's just a little too pricey. We don't want that much juice in play. What I will use instead is first period, both teams to score, +152 at FanDuel. So that's first period, both teams to score, which I also like, +152 in this game. And I'm gonna also add over 6.5, -120 at Bet Rivers. So I think Edmonton can score 4. Gustafsson has not been good lately, and he's expected to be in net. He's struggled for the Minnesota Wild. So I do think Edmonton can score 4 goals. And they've done that in the game following each of their last 3 losses. But and then Pickard's been solid. He's actually lately been a little bit better than Skinner, believe it or not. But he's still given up at least 3 goals in 3 of his last 4 starts. The Dallas game, Detroit game, he gave up 3 goals in both of those games. And there was some spotty rebounds that he gave up in the Dallas game, even though they won Edmonton in overtime. that, if he pounce on those rebounds, maybe he gives up more than just the 3 goals. So I'm still not totally sold on Calvin Pickard right now. And what scares me for Edmonton as far as their defensive play, which hasn't been good lately, and I said after the win streak got snapped on the Ice Guys show, there's defensive regression coming for Edmonton. They are not, give up 2 goals or less to the opponent in every fucking game like it had gone for the 16 games during that win streak. They're not that good defensively. Yes, they've improved a little bit on the defensive side, but they're not that much better. There's going to be regression for this team at the defensive end of the ice, and we're seeing it right now. They're struggling to keep the puck out of the net, and more importantly, Jimmy, their penalty kill is awful, and that's what points me to the full game over. Their penalty kill, they've given up a power play goal, Edmonton, in 7 straight games, and in 4 of those 7 games, they've given up 2 power play goals. So their penalty kill, Edmonton, is atrocious. And look at Minnesota's power play right now. Since February 9th against Pittsburgh, they have scored a power play goal in every game. 6 straight games with a power play goal. How about the last 2 games? 4 power play goals on 6 attempts against Vancouver in that crazy game. 2 power play goals on 4 attempts against Winnipeg the other night, even though they lost. So you have a red-hot Minnesota Wild power play against a struggling, reeling Edmonton Oilers penalty kill. So that's why I have a hard time believing Edmonton's keeping Minnesota's offense silent here tonight, even in a bounce-back spot. So that's also why I'm on the full game over here.
You got it. You got it. Over 6.5 minus 120 first period. Both teams score plus 152, and the Oilers team total over 3.5 minus 128. I bet this last night. It's a unit and a half bet for me as well. I got minus 129 on the minus 1 line. It wasn't available at Pinnacle at the time. It was only available at Bet365. Money line minus 190. Puck line at plus 125. And so Bobano, Oilers team total over 3.5. First period, both teams to score in the over 6.5. Bobano's on the draw in Jets Blackhawks, and he's on first period minus a half for the Sabres at plus 170. Full game minus 135. Sabres team total over 3.5 at plus 100. Buffalo Columbus over 6.5 minus 116.
That Sabres line is steaming right now. It's climbing. Holy shit. I see 150s, 155s. I see a 162 at DraftKings. Holy shit. And it's the Tarasov news. I think that's what's doing it. He's starting, and he's not good for the Columbus Blue Jackets. So, yeah, people are jumping on it.
Damn it. Ugh. I mean, this was a minus 135 last night.
Holy mackerel. What kind of move is this? Huge.
All right.
Holy mackerel.
Okay, I guess I'll have to bet this now when we talk about our next game. All right, let's move on to college basketball. A strong night last night for me, thank God. 4-2. It's too bad Stanford laid an egg late. It was 4-1. Portland State could have covered, and that could have been 5-0 going into that spot. But Oral Roberts plus 4.5 minus 107 cash. Portland State plus 3 lost. The double up on Seattle cash. It was very easy. Stanford lost, and then Georgia Southern minus 2.5 cashed as well. Oral Roberts and Georgia Southern were kind of all those games. Oral Roberts, Portland State, Georgia Southern could have really gone either way, but I was thankful that they cashed. So 4-2. So we're at a point now in the year where I've made 125 bets in college basketball, and my ROI is plus 11.15%. That's the best in my career. So let's keep that going. Let's roll. Here we go. College basketball game 1. We're going to cap each and every one of these games on the card. We start in the MAC, 6 p.m. Eastern. Kent State Golden Flashes 13-13, 6-7 in the MAC. At Akron Zips 19-7, 11-2 in the MAC. James A. Rhodes Arena in Akron, Ohio. Let's start with the line history here for this one, and then we're going to get into the cash flow. Set a quick table and hear Bobano's plans. And I love the 6 p.m. start. I like getting in a little early with one game of action. We're going to be using Bet Online market moves. If you need an account, a new account, Bet Online, we have a link on our website, pubsportsradio.com. And if you use it, you'll get 100% bonus up to $1,000. And it doesn't have to be Bitcoin. You see Bitcoin on other offers. For us, anything goes. So it's a nice spot. We have Kent State plus 7.5 here, and there's been no movement. This came out yesterday afternoon at 12:26 p.m. and no movement. No movement at all. So is there an edge, and where is that edge? From a total scenario, this just moved to 135.5. That happened 3 minutes ago at Bet Online. This opened up at 135, but this got up to 136.5 before we started seeing this drop. From a cash flow standpoint, we have 51% of tickets and 59% of the cash on Akron minus 7.5. And from a total standpoint, 68% of tickets and 76% of the cash is on the over. Kent State comes in off its second loss in 3 games, 63-57 at Ohio on Tuesday. It's 3.5-point dogs. They shot just 31.7% from the field and 33.3% from 3. Akron comes in off its second loss in 3 games, 72-64 at Toledo as 2.5-point dogs on Tuesday. Look, we were on Toledo on Tuesday. It made a lot of sense. Akron had won the first one in that battle, and then Toledo at home made a ton of sense. And in that spot, Akron didn't shoot well. They shot 39.7 from the field and 25.3% from 3. This is their lone meeting this year. Take it away for us, Bobano. Do you see an edge here in Kent State, Akron?
Yeah, I'm gonna make Akron an official play here in this one. I think it's a nice bounce back spot for the superior team. Normally, I don't go against revenge angles this deep into the season, and this is one for Kent because they lost at home to Akron 77-71 on January 19th. But I feel Akron 2 losses in their last 3 games. They're going to bounce back here. At home, they've played good basketball. They have won and covered 3 straight at home against Ohio. They won by 9. Toledo, terrific Toledo team, 3.5-point favorites. They won by 7. I think that was a couple of Fridays ago when I was on the show. We were on Toledo. We're on the losing end of that. Central Michigan, 68-47. They've been very good on this home court. They're the better of these 2 teams. I don't like what I've seen from Kent here in recent form. They barely beat a pretty bad Western Michigan team at home. And other than the Northern Illinois performance, I've not been impressed. I mean, they get blown out at Troy. At Ohio, they lose and fail to cover. Their offense has been very hit or miss lately. Their defensive numbers have been shaky against some of the better teams, and this is undoubtedly one of the better teams. Perfect 11-0 on their home floor straight up this year. Akron, and a pretty good ATS record at home for them as well. So home favorite here for me, Jimmy, and we'll make it official at minus 6.5, minus 132 at ProLine Plus. A little juice will pay for a better number.
Minus 6.5 and minus 132. Matty Ice says Akron flat out better. Doug Reed looking at Bowling Green. We're going to get into that here in a little bit. Puddin 586 says Zips roll. The Zips for Bobano. I'm going to stay off of this spot. I don't feel like I have an edge. I get it, though. I get the Akron bounce back spot. Certainly get it. Let's roll on to the next spot. We head to the A-Sun. Now, the next 2 games, if 2 years ago I would already have made this bet. Now I'm really leaning on you guys for expertise and then judging the market here. And the market's telling me that this was wrong, these next 2 bets, which I didn't make, but I would have. So let's roll. 7 p.m. Eastern, we have North Florida Osprey 15-13, 8-5 in the A-Sun, and the Jacksonville Dolphins 13-14, 4-9 in the A-Sun. We're at Swisher Gymnasium in Jacksonville, Florida. So let's get into the line history before I kind of set this table here. North Florida, from a total scenario, is at 141. This opened up at 142.5. It got down to 139.5 yesterday afternoon. There was a 3-point move to the under in the first hour and 13 minutes that this line came out yesterday afternoon. Since then, we've come back up 1.5 points. From a point spread perspective here, we are dealing with a pick'em. A pick'em. This line opened up with Jacksonville as 1-point favorites, and I thought that, well, I'll explain why I thought that made sense, but now we've moved a point in the opposite direction, which, in turn will, keep me off of this spot, I expect, unless, but here, 52% of tickets, 57% of cash on North Florida on the spread. On the money line, though, and that's why this moved on the money line, 75% of the tickets and 94% of the cash on North Florida. From a total perspective, 61% of the tickets and 80% of the cash is on the over. North Florida comes in off its second straight win, 82-81 at Kennesaw State last Friday. It's 4.5-point dogs. This is more of a cap on Jacksonville. They come off a 74-65 loss at Queen's University last Friday. It's 2.5-point dogs. They shot 36.9% from the field and 25% from 3. And North Florida beat Jacksonville at home. Now, we're going back to January 12th, but they won 82-74 as 4.5-point favorites. And North Florida shot 59.6% from the field and turned the ball over 5 times. So my initial expectation is they can't do that again. They won't do that again. but I got to stick to what's been working, and things have to correlate. And here I've got to trust, and it's easy to trust the market when who's betting North Florida Jacksonville? Your buddy down the street? No, these are gamblers and cappers that aren't rec betters. So I trust them, and so I stay off. Take it away for us, Bobano. Osprey Dolphins.
Yeah, there's a pass for me. I mean, North Florida's the better of these two teams, but their road record's sketchy. Jacksonville has had a strong home floor, but I definitely do think North Florida, the Osprey, are a little bit better than them. And Jacksonville is actually kind of, again, at home they've been good. On the road they've struggled, but again, this is the best team they've probably played at home since probably Kennesaw State, and they lost that game 83-79. So that was the one home loss they had this year. But, I just don't like going against Jacksonville. Revenge spot. Home court's been strong, but North Florida to me is the better team. So the factors cancel out. Lean to the over, but not so much because the last head-to-head meeting did go over. But you look at Jacksonville, they've been struggling to score the last 4 or 5 games, and they've been trending under as well. So just all around the side and total. Nothing I love. Pass for me.
All right, so I'm just getting that Sabres bet in here. Okay, let's roll on. We roll on. Next up for us, another spot that I expected to move on that I won't be at this point. 7 p.m. Eastern, we head to the Metro Atlantic. St. Peter's Peacocks 13-11, 9-6 in conference at Mount St. Mary's Mountaineers. 11-15, 7-8 in conference. We're at Knott Arena in Emmitsburg, Maryland. Let's see what we are dealing with line history-wise, because there was a huge move towards St. Peter's, which took me by surprise. A 2-point move. It looks like that's where this line's going to stick. This was Mount St. Mary's as 3.5-point favorites. 10 minutes after that drop, they were 2.5-point favorites. But then, over 12 hours later, there was a point move to Mount St. Mary's, 3.5. Then, when I was thinking about maybe betting this, I saw a 2-point move to St. Peter's, a big 2-point move to St. Peter's. So that's where we're standing right now. Let's get into the total here for this one. And from I'll have this set up a little better. I'm trying to get that Sabres bet in here. It's causing me a bit of a issue here, or just slowing me down a bit. So from a total standpoint, we're sitting here with a 131. It is juiced to the over. It opened up at 130, dropped down to 129.5, and then it's climbed up to 131. And from a cash flow standpoint, sorry, I don't have this set up. But from a cash flow standpoint, we have, sorry, I blew past it there. 40% of the tickets and 56% of the cash on St. Mary's. This would be right in my wheelhouse if there wasn't this 2-point move towards St. Peter's. 66% of tickets and 82% of cash on the under. St. Peter's comes in off their second straight win, 59-53 at Iona as on Sunday, 7.5-point dogs. I understand that they're maybe better than Mount St. Mary's, and you could say that there's not a huge home advantage at Knott Arena, but Mount St. Mary's comes in off back-to-back road losses. They lost 61-57 at Ryder as 1.5-point favorites. They followed that up with that real ugly 94-80 loss at Fairfield on Sunday. It's 4.5-point dogs. So they did 2 straight games where they don't cover. And now they come home. I mean, this is the recipe that I've been succeeding with. And to add to that, Mount St. Mary's lost at St. Peter's back on January 7th, 70-64 is 1.5-point dogs. And they turned the ball over 20 times in that loss. So I could say, well, they're not going to turn the ball over 20 times again, but they do have a weakness with controlling the ball. Their turnovers seem to happen nonstop in these games. So because of this move to St. Peter's, I will stay off Mount St. Mary's. But if I wasn't paying attention to that, I would have already bet it. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Metro Atlantic action, Peacocks, Mountaineers.
Gosh, I've been on St. Peter's as a road dog a couple of times and been burned by it. I'm not as sold this year from what I've seen from St. Peter's as a road dog. I'm just trying to make up my mind on whether I want to get involved here with the Mount, but I certainly lean with the home favorite here in this game. If you look at St. Peter's, they did beat Iona last time, but besides that, they had really started to struggle on the road. Losses to Fairfield, Marist, and Quinnipiac on the road, and their only road win was before the Iona win last weekend was Siena, who's absolutely been terrible this year in the Metro Atlantic. They have covered 3 in a row. It is a revenge spot, though, for Mount St. Mary's. St. Peter's beat them 70-64 back in January. 2 straight losses here for the Mount on the road against Ryder and Fairfield, but there's been a good home court for them for the most part. Lost to Niagara, but we'll get to Niagara in a moment. I love that team. They're one of the better teams in the conference, but they beat Quinnipiac, who's a pretty good team, and Manhattan their last 2 home games. I look at this matchup here, and as much as they dig in defensively and play slow, man, that offense can be challenging to watch. And if their defense is not totally shutting down the opponent, it's tough for them to win consistently, St. Peter's. So put things all together here, and I think it's a decent spot here to look at Mount St. Mary's. The price is now cheap enough, so I'm going to make it official here. Mount St. Mary's minus 120 at Pinnacle.
All right. I'm just we have Smooth Balls play today, Spreadsheet play today, and Taint all on the Green Bay Phoenix. Minus 2.5. I was just setting that up. Let's go back to this one. You are on the Mount. I get it. I completely get it. Mount St. Mary's minus 120 on the money line. Completely get it here. Spreadsheet play the days in on NBA as well. I will copy and paste that in a second. Thank you for sharing your hard work with us, Ron Crawford, my man. Let's roll on. Next up, we stay in the Metro Atlantic. We're going to stay in the Metro Atlantic for the next 3 games after including this one. 7 p.m. Eastern, Marist Red Foxes. This Marist team is rolling. Marist Red Foxes 14-9, 9-5 in conference at Manhattan. Jaspers 5-19, 2-13 in conference. We're at Draddy in Riverdale, New York. Let's go into the line history for this one. We'll start with the total. From a total standpoint, we have a 133.5. This opened up at 132, so it's a 1.5 towards the over. And from a point spread look, we have Marist sitting as 7-point favorites. Bovada has moved at 7.5. All that's happened at BetOnline since this came out yesterday afternoon at 12:26 is 5 cents of movement towards the Red Foxes. We get into the cash flow for this one. You have 93% of the tickets and 97% of the cash on Marist at the 7. 65% of the tickets, 82% cash on the over. Marist comes in off their 4 straight wins, 78-55 at home over Canisius on Friday, 6.5-point favorites. They shot 51.9% from the field and 52.9% from 3. So are you going to sit back and say, well, I don't expect them to do that again? Or, as Mr. Vape is saying, Manhattan is so bad. Last game, they were passing the ball to the fans twice and running in the backcourt. Manhattan comes off their 6th straight loss and 16th in 17 games, and it was horrific. A 104-62 loss at home, and they said there were 627 fans there. I saw about 15, maybe 25 fans there. Ryder shot against Manhattan 76.4% from the field and 73.3% from 3. They lost 70-56 at Marist back on December 3rd. I don't want to be with 97% of the cash. Also, if I was going to do that, I would like to see that -7 move to -9. So the only way I would look is to back the Jaspers, which I don't want to do. Let's hear what Bobano's plan is on this one. Take it away, Marist Red Foxes, Manhattan Jaspers.
And what's funny is the times that I've bet Manhattan have been on the road. They've actually been very good on the road as underdogs. At home, they've been a disaster, though. Absolutely terrible. They've actually been a better road team than home team. And look at these last few home games. They were a favorite against lowly Siena. Siena goes in there and beats them. Ryder just destroys them, 104-62. They lose by 7 to get to Fairfield, 13 to St. Peter's. And more importantly, against Marist, 2 times they faced them last year at Manhattan, 61-50, 81-58. Double-digit losses for Manhattan against Marist. That being said, this is not a spot for me to look. Look, Marist is in good form right now. Marist is playing well. They have good guard play, Marist as well. And you're seeing them start to score the basketball more than they have earlier in the season. So that's definitely a positive for them. But I think when you look at this matchup here, I would actually lean to the over a bit, but I don't feel strongly enough conviction-wise to bet that. I don't trust Manhattan enough, but you won't see me laying 7 on the road in this conference. So this is a pass for me.
A pass as well for me. The end says the Red Foxes. Look, I get it, but I just, 97% of the betting public is not the company I want to keep. Let's move on. We head over to Alumni Gymnasium in Lawrenceville, New Jersey. A rider just put up 104 points and shot 73.3% from three. Hard to expect now, and they did that on the road. Now riders got to be feeling good about themselves, and they come on home. Let's talk about the spot. Iona's lost 2 of their last 3. They played Ryder. It was a great basketball game. It was at Iona. It was 94-93 Iona. That was back, on February 4th. We're talking 19 days ago. Iona turned the ball over 3 times. They played very smooth basketball, and Gordon went for 28. And it was impressive. It was impressive victory. Now, they were 6.5-point favorites, so they didn't cover. So how impressive really was it if the backers didn't get paid? But so they played once, and Iona won. They're coming off that loss at home to St. Peter's, 59-53. Just a horrific display here. They shot 28.6% from 3, 31.7% from the field, and had 14 turnovers in the loss to St. Peter's. On the other side of things, we talked about that huge win for Ryder. I mean, they beat Mount St. Mary's at home in the start before that and put up 61 points. The home game before that, they lost to Marist, and they put up 62 points. Then they put up 104 against Manhattan. Is there a way that we can get in line to fade that? I wonder. Ryder right now at BetOnline is a pick'em. This opened up with them +1. The immediate move was towards Iona. It got to +2, and now it's a pick'em. So there has been a 1-point move towards the Bronx from a total side of things here. Oh, sorry. Here we go. I gotta get this set up better. Sorry. From a total side of things, we are dealing with a 145. This opened up at 146.5, a 1.5 move towards the under. And when we get to the cash flow for it, we have 15% of the tickets and 30% of the cash on Iona, 46% of the tickets and 55% cash on the under. Take it away for us here, Bobano. And Matty Ice is Ryder here. Morgan Spooner talking about Gordon being done for the year. And Matty Ice is especially your first game without the star. See, I'm the opposite. Now, when we love it in NHL and NBA, does that transfer over to college basketball? Are they gonna man up together, without Gordon? Take it away for us here, Bobano. Gales, Bronx.
Yeah, I mean, this was a thriller. I shouldn't say a thriller. This was misleading when these teams played each other just a couple. And I was on Ryder in that game. Ryder was down big, and I mean big. Like, that was a blowout for Iona. They were up by almost 20 at one point. And it ended up being a 1-point game for Iona as Ryder came all the way back and ended up losing by 1 in that game. So it's a weird game where Iona was ahead comfortably, but then all of a sudden Ryder came back. Yes, the person you're mentioning in the chat is Greg Gordon, and he is the leading scorer for Iona, 16 points per game. He's been very solid for them. It is a big loss. You're going to need a lot because really they only have one other double-digit scorer on average, and that's Eden Treto for Iona. Other than that, you got Jeremiah Quigley, you've got Weza Ponzo, you've got Irungaran. I mean, you've got Brown. They're all single-digit scorers. So this Greg Gordon absence is a big deal right now for this Iona team. So much of their offense goes through him. And you factor in that Ryder lost a close one in the first meeting, revenge spot back home in that gymnasium, alumni gym there in Jersey. I like Ryder here. I do. I like them -115 at DraftKings on the money line. I'm also going to go over, and I get it that they've lost a huge score, a huge piece of their offense, over 145 -110. But sometimes you do get the other pieces stepping up. And more than anything, I think this Ryder offense is starting to get going. They should be a better offense than they've shown. I expect more like the 91 they scored against Siena and the 93 they scored against Iona in the first meeting and the 104 that they scored against Manhattan. This team has enough scoring, and there should be a better offense than, only scoring 62 against Marist. There's been a little bit of up and down with Ryder offensively in their game and in their performances lately. But I've been riding the overs with Ryder. You know that, especially on these Fridays. And they are 5-1 to the over in their last 6 games. We saw the overcash in the first meeting between these two teams. And even with Gordon's absence, you could see Iona's other players step up. You do sometimes get that, especially in the first game. So I do like Ryder to win, but I'm going to keep riding the Ryder over Express as well, over 145, with 5 of the last 6 games for the Bronx going over.
You got it. Ryder on the money line, the over 145. Matt, you guys saying the biggest difference is these are amateurs and not pros, about whether they'll step up with the absence of Gordon. Paul went up, says Gordon had 28.
Honestly, I would have been on Ryder with Gordon, quite honestly. I would have been, no question.
Yeah, I can understand why it would concern you
too much.
I do. This is you want to fade the team missing their star. Personally, I would like to fade the team missing their star player in games 2 and games 3, not games 1. So, and Nasty Nate says we need to play the Loshak Ryder song. Yes, and we're going to record that in San Antonio here shortly. The Ryder -4 from Riders of the Storm from the Doors.
Riders on the Storm. Yep,
it's beautiful. It's Ryder -4. It's beautifully done by Pistol Pete Loshak. All right, let's move on. We stay in the Metro Atlantic here. Andrew B says we talk about 2K and Fordham yet? No, we will talk about every single game though on today's card, and that's an 8:30 p.m. start. So don't worry, every single one will be discussed. Niagara Purple Eagles 14, 11, 10, and 5 in the Metro Atlantic. We've heard a lot of cappers talking about this spot at the Canisius Golden Griffins 10 and 15, 5 and 10 in the Metro Atlantic, where the Coastler Center in Buffalo, New York. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. First off, we'll start with the total. Sitting right now at 142. It opened up at 144, a 2-point move towards the under. From a spread perspective here, we have Niagara has gone from dog to favorite. Huge move. +2.5, +1.5 to -2. That's a 4.5 point move at 10:30 last night. Now there's been a half point of buyback, but right now Niagara -1.5, dog to favorite. Take a look at the cash flow and see what role that has had. It'll clear roll. 82% of the tickets and 80% of the cash is on the Purple Eagles. 55% of tickets and 67% of cash is on the over, and yet it's dropped 2 points. Billy Friedrich saying Niagara the best road team against the spread in the country. Niagara 12-1 against the spread. Looking at a rest situation here, Niagara on back-to-back road victories. They went into Fairfield, beat them 65-63. Went into Quinnipiac, the number 1 team in the conference, and beat them 80-66. Clean their clocks. Canisius also been playing on the road. They've won 2 of their last 3. That lone loss was at Marist. They won at home over Iona, and then they won at Siena 73-64. And then when we need to know, they just played each other. They played each other recently. 69-64 Niagara win at home over Canisius. So the market is telling you clearly that Niagara is live. But for me, Niagara beating the best team in the conference and destroying them, and then having already beaten Canisius, it's unfortunately a stay off. It just doesn't correlate enough for me. But I can understand any capper who got Niagara on the plus money or even at the -1 or -1.5 should be very confident here. I get it. That will not be me. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Purple Eagles, Golden Griffins.
Yeah, it's a Niagara Friday. I think I've been on Niagara every Friday with you on this show. Honestly, I mean, when have I not taken Niagara when they've played on a Jimmy the Bag, betting with the bag Friday? I can't even remember. But it's like every Friday. I remember the last time I was on a Friday and Niagara played at St. Peter's. They won outright. I know I was on them that night, beating the St. Peter's Peacocks 68-59. I'm back on. This price is cheap. This price is disrespectful to Niagara. And Greg Paulus, who's doing a heck of a coaching job, the Duke alum. He played his college basketball at Duke for Coach K many, many years ago. Notice before in some of these Niagara games, I've also been on the over. I'm off that over train right now with Niagara because they're playing defense right now. 5 straight unders for the Purple Eagles. They're D'ing up. They've held 4 of their last 5 opponents to below 70 points. And to hold Quinnipiac, the Bobcats, one of the best offensive teams in the MAC, to 66 points. Very, very impressive. So they're finally digging in. They're playing some of their best defensive basketball of the season. We know they can score. We know they can shoot and score points, and they are doing that. Canisius has won 2 of the last 3, including a home win against Iona. I get it. And Niagara did beat them earlier this year at home, 69-64. So it is a revenge spot for Canisius, but you can't argue with this road success for Niagara. Incredible numbers, incredible success for them on the road. 9-4 straight up, 12-1 against the spread this season on the road for this Niagara team. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We've been cashing tickets all season on Fridays on this show with Niagara. We're going back to the well tonight. Niagara minus 118 at Pinnacle.
Bobano moving on the Purple Eagles on the money line, minus 115 for Bobano. Bobano been firing away. I've yet to get involved, and I would like to very, very much. Sorry, I didn't put you here. So Bobano, there we go. Okay. And then there was nothing for Jacksonville. Okay. So let's roll on. Next up. Now we leave the Metro Atlantic. But it was hammered pretty hard by Bobano. He's on Mount St. Mary's money line. He stayed off Marist Manhattan. He's on Ryder money line, the over 145 in Iona Ryder, and he's on the Purple Eagles of Niagara. We head to the Ivy League. The Pennsylvania Quakers, 9-15, 1-8 in the Ivy. The Dartmouth Big Green, 5-17, 1-8 in the Ivy. Edward Lead Arena in Hanover, New Hampshire. We have a bum fight in the Ivy League. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We have Dartmouth right now as 6-point dogs. Open up as 5.5-point dogs. Got up to 6.5 in an hour and 2 minutes. And there's been a little bit of buyback. Even at +6, it is juiced towards Dartmouth. So there has been some buyback. From a total standpoint here, we have it sitting at 133. This opened up at 131. And the first move, when it went 1.5 towards the Quakers, it also moved to the under. It went down to 130. Since then, it's gone up 3 points. So, and that move to the 130 only lasted for 11 minutes. But the big move from 131 to 133 happened 2 hours and 4 minutes ago. Let's get into the cash flow then for this spot. We have 53% of the tickets and 93% of the cash on Dartmouth. It's hard to quantify that really because the line's moving towards Penn. 84% of the tickets, but just 68% of the cash is on the over. Now we've seen that huge jump happen at 10 this morning. Take a look at the rest situation for these two squads. We have the Quakers, both teams just in the throes of a monster losing streak. The Quakers have lost 8 straight games. They've lost 10 of 11. They have played Dartmouth, and they destroyed Dartmouth. They beat Dartmouth 80-51 at home, absolutely destroyed them. They shot 50.9% from the field, but they shot 56% from three. They were up 47-24 at the half. Dartmouth couldn't hit anything, 32 from the field and 29 from three. I guess the big bets here are expecting a bounce back spot or a revenge spot here for Dartmouth. Hard to have faith in the Big Green here. They're also in the throes of this long losing streak. They have lost 5 straight. They did beat Brown at home 75-71 back on January 27th. Other than that, it's just losing and losing and losing. All of the conference losing happened with that loss to Pennsylvania. And so they've got that one win just against Brown here. And they're coming off that 89-80 loss at Cornell. Back-to-back road losses, 3 straight road losses. The 10th, they lose at Harvard. The 16th, they lose at Columbia. So they lose at Harvard by 18. They lose at Columbia by 10. They lose at Cornell by 9. And now they come home. But the last time we saw them at home, they lost 72-56 to Columbia. And I know it's a much better Columbia team than what we're used to. So here we go. Take it away for us here. Little Ivy League bum fight. Quakers, Big Green.
Yeah, I think when you look at Penn and Dartmouth here, this is one of those head scratcher point spreads. And I'm not a big trap guy. I don't believe in that nonsense. But nevertheless, we're talking about a 1-10 team on the road. Penn laying 6.5 here, 6 on the road. I mean, my goodness, they have 1 road win this year, Penn. And this is not a vintage Penn team either. This is not one of the better Penn teams for a guy that Donahue's been a good coach for this program, but this is not one of his better teams, not even close. 1-9 in their last 10 straight up. 1-10 straight up on the road. That's not a profile I want to lay 6 with. Now, Dartmouth is awful. I get it. They've been blown out repeatedly, but this is bum fight spectacular. nothing for me other than maybe this game can get up and over the total. Loose atmosphere. I mean, 132.5, 133 with the way, Penn's been giving up points, 77, 7. They've constantly given up 70. When you look at Dartmouth, we've seen them give up 70 plus in 4 straight. I think I will bet that. I do like that. Stay away from the side, but I think I will get involved in this total. To me, it's just a little bit too low for how these teams aren't defending right now. So over 132 minus 110 at Bet Rivers.
Over 132 minus 110. Robert Franklin also on that over with you. There's James Parham in the house. Great to see you, James. Billy Friedrich says Penn just 3-8 against the spread on the road. All right, let's roll on. Next up, we head to the MAC at the Stroh Center in Bowling Green, Ohio. And Justin McKelvey has already given us the stacks play of the day. It is on the Bowling Green Falcons, 16-10, 7-6 in the MAC. At home against Toledo. Take a closer look at this. Obviously, Toledo coming off that big win at home against Akron, but they also had that big win at home against Ohio. They showed their worth, I thought, in that road loss at App State, losing in double overtime, 109-104. That's their only loss over their last 4 games. I love the way they answered back that loss at Akron, 77-70, and we were all on them. That was on Tuesday with Pistol Pete Loshak. Bowling Green has lost 3 straight, all coming on the road. Last time we saw them at home, they looked pretty good. Beat lowly Buffalo 87-73. They're 4 games back of Toledo, who is tied with Akron right now. So the question is, can we expect to see some sort of a return to earth after that huge game? Is this a bad spot for Akron after that huge game? Toledo is a bad spot for Toledo after that huge game at home versus Akron. That is the question that needs to be answered. They've played Bowling Green, and they smashed them at home, beat them 88-72. Toledo shot 55.9 from the field and 42.3 from 3. Rebounded them, but this was a close game. I mean, Bowling Green was up by 2 with 10 minutes left in that game, and then they fell apart late. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We'll start with the spread, and then we'll talk about the cash flow. But with this one, we have let me get this set up properly here. We have a Bowling Green sitting at plus 4.5 at Bet Online. They opened up at 3.5, so we have a 1-point move towards Toledo. Then from a total standpoint, we have a 156.5. This opened up at 155, got up to 156, dropped. Now it's sitting at 156.5, and it's juiced to the over. And then cash flow wise here, we have 37% of the tickets and 47% of cash on Toledo. 20% of the tickets and 50% of the cash on the over. So big bets have come in on the over. Justin McKelvey also has a half unit on the money line here with the Falcons. Take it away for us here, Bobano. MAC action, Rockets, Falcons.
Yeah, I'm going to dive into some series history to help me out here with the over, because I think the over is a good bet here. But 3 meetings in a row with these 2 teams, Toledo and BG, we saw 160, we saw 177, and we saw 168 in the last 3 meetings. So all 3 of them 160 plus. So to me, anything shy of 160 makes the over to me worth a look here in this game with Toledo and Bowling Green. Look, Toledo played really good defense their last game against Akron. It was a big game for them against a rival. I think they had already lost Akron earlier this year, but they got them at home, and it was one of their best defensive efforts. But the one thing about Toledo is their defense is spotty, and after an all-in effort like that against Akron, I could see them kind of reverting back to the Toledo that is kind of lax on defense tonight in this game, because this is a bit of a downer spot for Toledo coming off that big win against Akron. So just to lock in the number, over 155.5 minus 132 at Pro Line Plus is what we'll lock in officially for the over. And I'm actually going to look at Bowling Green here in this spot. Plus 4.5 minus 108 at Pinnacle is a tricky spot. Like I said, for Toledo, they're off the big couple of home wins against Akron and Ohio on the road here at Bowling Green tonight. And Bowling Green, at home, 10-3 straight up on the season entering this game. And then the 3 losses they've had at home, there was a 1-point loss to Central Michigan, 6-point loss to Kent State. So, they were pretty much in those games start to finish. And, again, you're talking about a Toledo team that coming off their best defensive effort probably of the season. Let's not forget, this is a team that in a loss at Akron on the road, where they haven't been as good on the road, they gave up 77, failed to cover. 87 points against Eastern Michigan on the road. They failed to cover. They scored 91. They won straight up, but they failed to cover. They gave up 87 and well over 45% shooting. At Appalachian State in that Max Sunbelt, challenge that took place last weekend, they gave up 109 points on the road in that game, 109-104. So this is still a Toledo defense, especially on the road, especially after a huge win like that against Akron, that I do worry about. So it's the dog and the over for me in this game.
What was the juice you got on the over 155.5?
Minus 132, ProLine Plus.
All right, you are locked in. Robert Franklin says, yeah, lean over. Doubt Toledo locks in defensively 2 games in a row. The only thing I can try to figure out, because everything makes sense with what you guys are, being on Bowling Green, except for that point move towards Toledo, is maybe because it's the end of the year and you're just tied for the lead in conference. Maybe from a coaching standpoint, that can keep you locked in. That's the only angle I can see that is the reason why it's moved a point to Toledo. That's it, and that's all. But I would like to join you guys. It's almost all correlating. Now, if we finish up this card and nothing correlates, then obviously I'll have to figure out how to move on a couple of these spots. And this would be at the very top of the list that I would look at. So Justin McKelvey and Bobano on Bowling Green plus 4.5. And Bobano also on the over 155.5. And Justin saying, get in the car. Get in the car. Can't wait till you say it to me in San Antonio. Let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern. There's our guy Markel in the house. Let's get that cash, Markel. It's Friday. It's fat in our pockets. Purdue, Fort Wayne, Mastodon, 17-10, 8-8 in the horizon. At the Green Bay Phoenix, 17-10, 12-4 in the horizon. We're at the Rest Center. Also, don't forget, we have our horse race today. Our horse race, $50 up for grabs. For our gold members, Jose will be joining us. We'll have the call. Jose, how many gold members do we have now?
Even 60.
Even 60 gold members. I got to talk to Jeff. And see what. You know what I think? You know what we should try, Jose? We've done the 2-minute race. Why don't we try a 1-minute banger? 1-minute banger with everything on the line. 1-minute sprint. Tell us what you guys want. Actually, you guys tell us in the chat how long you want the race to be. Tell us in the chat how long do you want. I wouldn't mind a 1-minute banger where if you get out to a lead, it might help. Let us know here. Tell us how long you guys want the race. We'll listen to the members here and shout out to Luke Murphy rolling with us. Okay, back to the Purdue, Fort Wayne Mastodons and Green Bay Phoenix. So we've come to the point where the smooth balls play today is on Green Bay minus 2.5. Not only is the smooth balls play of the day on Green Bay, but we have other sharpshooters moving on in as well. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play of the day is on Green Bay minus 2.5. Then we have Taint also on Green Bay minus 2.5. Let's set this one up. Purdue coming off their second win over the last 3 games at mighty Detroit Mercy. That was on Saturday, 83-69 victory for PFW. Green Bay had their winning streak snapped against the mighty Norse, 58-57. That was on Wednesday, but that was 9 days ago on Wednesday. So they've been sitting with this loss. They had a 5-game winning streak, and that was snapped. That was the second time they've lost to the Norse. They lost at Northern Kentucky and then couldn't handle them at home. So they've been sitting with that anger for a long time, and they have not gone up against PFW this year. So they haven't. Oh, yes, they did. God, wait, sorry. I was looking at the way back in November 29th. I almost missed that. Way back. Way back in the non-conference schedule here. That's Jose has a very, very interesting idea. Oh, I love it, Jose. I love it. I love the idea. We'll talk about that in a second. I think it's a great idea, Jose. We have a fun idea. So they played and Purdue won. Purdue Fort Wayne won 75-71. Purdue Fort Wayne at that point, Green Bay Phoenix were 3-4. PFW was 7-1. My, how things have changed. That game, PFW were 11.5-point favorites. Good God, has that changed massively? Let's take a look and see what we are dealing with from a line history standpoint. We had this situation on Tuesday where we had 3 of our cappers on the same side, and it cashed very, very comfortably. And that stink that was hanging over us when everybody would be on the same side is gone. And I mean, it's been gone for almost a full year. The ROI when we're all on the same side is really nice right now. So those fears that we used to have don't need to exist anymore. And right now we see 3s across the board. BetOnline was at a 3 at -115 at 3 in the morning. It's come back to 2.5, but it's basically a 3. It's -119. So this opened up at 1.5. So we basically have a 1.5 of movement towards Green Bay. And then from a total standpoint here, we have it sitting at 140. That's exactly where it opened. There's not been 1 cent of movement when this opened here. So cash flow is all we need to see, and then hand it over to our guy Bobano. So from a cash flow standpoint, we have where is it here? We have Green Bay with 81% of tickets and 70% of the cash, 31% of tickets, 43% of cash on the under. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Interesting one. Mastodons versus the Phoenix.
Yeah, I like Green Bay as well. I lean over here in this game, but I'm not going to make the over official because I do think it could come close to this number. I lean that way, though. 3 straight meetings have gone over. But the official play here for me is Green Bay. I'm going to go money line here, -147 at Bet Rivers. So that's -147 at Bet Rivers, Green Bay money line. They've been one of the hotter teams in the horizon of late. I know they got upended by Northern Kentucky last game, but prior to that, they had won 5 straight, covered 5 straight, revenge spot against a Purdue Fort Wayne team that beat them 75-71 back in November on their home floor. Green Bay 10-2 straight up this season. Purdue Fort Wayne on the road has been hit or miss for the most part. They've beaten the bad teams like Detroit and IUPUI, but they lose to Robert Morris's favorites. They lose to Cleveland State on the road. And I think Green Bay really trending up as far as offensively and defensively. They play slow at home. I think they're going to dictate their pace. That's another thing, too, that kept me off the over in official play. Green Bay is one of the slowest paced teams tempo-wise in the country. Fort Wayne plays very fast, but usually the team at home dictates that pace. And if Green Bay does dictate that pace, I'm not 100% sure this game goes over. So that's why I'm off the total, but I do like Green Bay. I think they bounce back. Money line for me, -147.
It seems like a very appealing spot. 9 days off after the loss. I don't see how I don't join you guys on this one. What's been the change for Green Bay? I mean, 11.5-point dogs the first time these two teams met. What's been the change with the squad?
I think for me, it's they're finally playing good defensively. Their half-court defense is locked in. I don't think it was earlier in the season. You saw this Green Bay team. They were very much a bad defensive outfit, and they've really improved quite a bit, as the season's gone on. And to be honest, their scoring too has improved. You look at it, 77, 88 points. They've been locking in much better at the defensive end. And sometimes with these teams there that start off the season slow, like Green Bay did, you get better as the season goes on, especially when you've got a guy that's a pretty good coach here, Sundance Wicks. It's actually one of the best names in college basketball, but he's done a really nice job here for a team that really struggled early in the season. And, this is a guy that, coached at Wyoming as an assistant, and was pretty highly regarded there under Jeff Linder. Got the opportunity here at Green Bay. Remember, this is for him just his very first season at Green Bay. And sometimes when you're a new coach, you need that time to implement things and get the players to buy in and players to play the way you want. And right now he's doing that for this Green Bay team. So first year head coach, first year situation, sometimes it just takes time. And, now we're seeing Green Bay playing their best basketball here in late January and February when they weren't early in the season. And I think quality coaching has a lot to do with it.
I'm very interested in joining you guys. I didn't on Tuesday, and I have to pull up my worksheet, see exactly what that bet was, but I know it cashed on Tuesday. I had a 5 and 4 day on Tuesday, but it could have been better. I'm going to join you guys on this one. Londo, yeah, I mean, I like the Oilers, Londo. I like the Oilers. I think the Oilers are going to. I just think this is a great number to bet them at, and the Wild missing all this truculence and toughness. Maybe it's simple, but hockey can be simple. It's not like the other sports. So at this point, I would say that. All right, let's roll on. We head to the Ivy League for our next spot. 7 p.m. Eastern. We have the Yale Bulldogs, 17 and 7, 8-1 in the Ivy. At Cornell, Big Red, 19 and 4, 8-1 in the Ivy. We're in Ithaca, New York, Newman Arena here. This is a nice one. We already talked about the bum fight. Now we get to talk about a couple good squads here. And Yale just lost at Princeton, 73-62. Little wake-up call. Princeton got the Rebenga. Princeton's just one game back of these two. So Yale and Cornell are playing for the top of the Ivy League standings. There's a ton on the line here in this one. Cornell just beat Dartmouth at home and didn't look very good doing it. Both teams played on Saturday. Not impressive. It was not impressive at all. And these teams just played a beauty, a really fun basketball game back on February 10th. Yale won at home 80-78. A very tight affair. Yale were 7.5-point favorites. And, the big thing, though, was that Cornell played about as well as they can. They shot 54.5 from the field. They shot 40% from three. The problem is that Yale outboarded them, it didn't matter that they shot 21.4% from three. They outboarded them 41-20. So the big question here has to be, is Yale going to dominate the boards yet again? So let's get into this here. Pull one up with a great note on Green Bay. I love it. I love Cowboys who follow them closely. So we'll go over that in a second. But let's keep setting this one up here. Yale, Cornell. Yale right now is 2-point dogs. They opened up as a 1-point dog, and then this became a pick'em in the first hour and a bit. Then there's been this move towards Cornell. So Cornell has a 1-point move towards them. From a total side of things here, we have it's sitting at 156.5. This opened up at 153. So we have a 3.5-point move towards the over. And then when we get to the cash flow here, just 15% of the tickets and 19% of the cash is on Yale. Wow. Cornell has 85% of the tickets and 81% of the cash. And the initial move was towards Yale. Very interesting. I can understand why you would think that a revenge would be in place. But I want Bobano to touch on the dominance that Yale had on the boards and whether he sees this happening again, because Yale can shoot better and Yale can come in on the road. Just looking at this, it's hard to not like Yale here, even though they aren't at home. But I like them coming off the wake-up call off that loss, at Princeton. That was their first loss in conference. Let's hear what Bobano has to say. Take it away. Yale, Cornell, Ivy League action for the top of the board.
It's a great game. Yeah, this is probably the best game of the night, I would say, with these two teams going head-to-head. There's no doubt. Cornell, fastest tempo in the conference, best offense in the conference, but sneaky under the radar. Their defense has improved, fourth now in the conference defensively. Yale's pretty well balanced. They're very good offensively. They're the number one defense in the conference, the Ivy League. So it's very fascinating. I think it's very interesting. You talk about the rebounding situation that Yale had, the dominance they had as far as that is concerned. You look at Yale rebound percentage. Offensive rebounds 5th, defensive rebounds 2nd. That's what you want to see. But at the same point in time, the one thing that is concerning here, not as concerning, I should say, is when you look at it, first as far as defensive rebounding in the Ivy League for Yale. But Cornell's a reasonably decent 4th. So to me, that rebounding margin in the first meeting shouldn't be that wide this time around, especially on Cornell's home court, especially with Cornell, in revenge mode here in this game. A perfect, 9-0 they are at home this year, the Big Red. Their offense is absolutely outstanding. I'm really It's bothering me a little bit. Yale's off the loss because after that game they'll probably want to play better. But is a revenge for Cornell. They went to Yale. They were 7.5-point dogs, and they nearly won. They lost by 2. It was a heartbreaker. I really love the Cornell form right now, and I think home court's the difference. I'm on the big red here. Cornell money line. I think they exact some payback for the loss to Yale earlier this year. So Cornell minus 134 for me.
Cornell minus 134 for Bobano. Are you surprised that this has had such a big move towards the over? I guess you're not, because you're saying that Cornell will dictate the pace. It won't be Yale, and that's why it's climbing.
Yeah, no doubt. I lean over, but man, that's a high number. And when you look at and it was 158 the last meeting, and I think I was on the over in that game. I probably should be on it here in this game. Let me see what the current number is right now. Yeah, it has gone up. I'll add the over on. I will. I'll be upset if it cashes and I'm not on it because I was on the over in the first meeting. So yeah, over 155.5 minus 120 at ProLine Plus. Cornell at home, they're going to dictate pace. I think a little bit. And look, Yale's not a snail. Yale's 5th in the conference in tempo. They basically are a team that plays whatever way their opponent wants to. If the opponent wants to run up and down and play full court, they're willing to run with them. If the opponent wants to slow it down, play in the half court, Yale can play that way as well. So yeah, I like over here. We saw 158 in the first meeting. The total does seem just a notch or two low.
You got it. 155.5 at minus 120. Interesting note from Pull One Up. Says that Green Bay was supposed to be a bottom feeder in this division this year, but has exceeded expectations. He says he follows Green Bay all year. They won't win this game. If they do, Noah Reynolds has to score 30 plus, and says best of luck. Wow. Maybe I should take a little bit more time studying that spot. So I'll add a few question marks. Thank you for sharing that with us. All right, let's move on to more Ivy League action. We got 2 back-to-back Ivy League games here, 7 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget Dutch Boy Fresh Fridays back in business here. He will be joining us for the NBA card. 7 p.m. Eastern, Princeton Tigers 19-3, 7-2 in the Ivy League at the Harvard Crimson 13-9, 4-5 in the Ivy League. We're in Cambridge, Massachusetts for this one. Let's take a look at the situation here. We have Princeton with 4 straight wins. Now 1 game back of Yale and Cornell, and they just beat Yale at home. They went to Brown, beat them 70-60. Brown's not at the very bottom of the ledger. Then they beat the Quakers at home by 7. They are at the bottom of the ledger. Then they beat Brown at home 72-63 by 9. Then they beat Yale by 11, and that was a real nice performance. And that was on back-to-back games, as we see here. That was on Friday and Saturday. For Harvard here, they're coming off a win at Columbia, 80-75, and it was pretty impressive. It was a impressive victory. That they lost to the Big Red at Cornell on Friday, and then followed that up with a win at Columbia on Saturday. So then the next question, of course, is what's happened when these two teams have played each other, and they destroyed Harvard. I mean, we talked Princeton absolutely annihilated them earlier in the season. It was a 89-58 victory. 89-58 victory for Princeton. And this was a close game. And, it was Harvard was up 28-25 with 4 minutes left in the first. And then it was just absolute destruction. Harvard shot just 23.8% from 3, but 13 turnovers compared to 4 for Princeton, who shot 49 from the field and 43 from 3. So let's take a look at the line history here. Is there a chance that Harvard, who's been improving as the season has gone on, could exact some revenge? They're sitting here at +7. They opened up at +6. This got up to 7.5, dropped to 6.5. But right now it's at 7. So we've had the 1-point move towards Princeton. Then from a total side of things, we are sitting here at 141. This opened up at 140 and has climbed a point to 141. And then cash flow, we have, sorry, let me get this, find this Harvard game. It's not too many games up there. I don't know why I wouldn't find it. Here we go. 79% of the tickets, 80% of the cash on Princeton. Then 75% of the tickets on the under. What are your thoughts here, Bobano? Does Harvard have a chance at exacting revenge? JPZ saying Harvard is not good, but Justin McKelvey's on Harvard +7. Coin saying 79% of the tickets, 80% cash on Princeton, line down from 7.5 to 7. Coin, did it open up at 7.5 where you're looking? And because you mentioned that, Why don't we just see? Because this opened up at 6 at Pinnacle. Excuse me, at Bet Online. But let's just see what
This
Pinnacle.
opened 5.5 at Bet Online, actually. Yep,
Oh,
5.5 on
wow.
Princeton.
So it's giving me. Did I read that wrong here?
5.5 to 6 to 7 to 8 to 7.5, 7, 6.5, back up to 7.
I'm
Line
surprised
history.
my site is not telling me that. It's telling me that at 12:36 p.m. it opened up at 6. What time is your site saying that it opened up at? I've never had
Princeton at Bet Online. I think it was. Let me see. I think we get time. Yeah, 12:26 p.m. yesterday.
Wow, I'm shocked that this is the first time the site has stunned me like that. 5.5 opener. Wow, angers me that my site would screw me. I mean, we're putting money on these lines, and it makes me want to smash something. This
Those
open.
accurate line history readings. God damn it! Yeah, exactly.
Ugh,
Yeah.
that's just. I mean, if we're making these decisions, we need to know
Especially
this.
the way you cap. Yep.
This at Pinnacle opened up at 2:19 p.m. at 7. So that's interesting that at 7 there's not been an edge towards Princeton, even though 80% of cash is on them. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Princeton, Harvard.
Yeah, I mean, for me in this game, it's going to be a pass. I mean, it's not a great Princeton spot. They're coming off the huge win, but is there going to be that auto letdown? Like they're right on the heels of Yale and Cornell, those aforementioned front runners in the Ivy League. They're not totally out of winning this conference, so there's incentive to win here. There's incentive to show up. There's incentive to not let that big win against Yale get in your head and come out here and take care of business against a Harvard team that, to be quite honest with you, with Harvard, their defense hasn't been good. This is not a vintage Harvard team. And then, look, I love Tommy Amaker. How can you not? He's been a great coach here for a very long time with the Harvard Crimson. But this is not one of his better teams. This isn't even close to one of his better teams. In fact, this is probably one of the worst teams he's had in the last decade or so. And then when you look at what Harvard's done when they've stepped up in class in Ivy League play and they played the heavyweights, they get bombed by this Princeton team by 31 on the road on January 6th. They play home to Yale. They lose by 13. They don't cover. They play at home against Cornell. They lose by 13. Again, they don't cover. So that's double-digit losses against by far the 3 best teams in this conference so far. So I don't trust Harvard enough. They're just not very good. So it's an easy pass for me.
It's so fascinating when you talk, because if we were only looking at the Pinnacle number, I would be on Harvard here. But the fact that it opened up at 5.5 at Bet Online and at 5, and the key is, where's the edge? So what they're saying is at 7, there's no edge. But at 5.5, there's an edge on Princeton. If you knew that at 5.5, Princeton has an edge, but at 7, there's no edge, would you want Harvard at 7? And the answer is no. Right? If there's no, if the edge is on the opposition at 5.5, why would you feel so much confident that so much more? I'm going to put some question marks beside Harvard here. Let's roll on. The next Ivy League spot that we have here is Brown, Columbia. There's our guy Rez Mob in the house. Oh, by the way,
Bet-Online openers, by the way, are good gauge because Bet-Online is always one of the first to market in Vegas or offshore with most sports, including college basketball. So that's why, I'm looking at the line history on the other books on my BetStamp app here, and all of them are like 6 p.m., 8 p.m., 10 p.m. last night at the other books. But I get that 12:26 p.m. early afternoon at Bet Online ahead of the other books. And by the time the other books opened this Princeton Harvard game, they opened 6.5, 7 because it was later in the day, and the Bet Online folks already had moved it from 5.5 to 6.5, 7 based on the movement, the money they got earlier in the day.
Yeah, it's crucial, and there's limits. So it's not like somebody came in there and put 10K on the 5.5. They keep it with limits. So if they're wrong, they can, fix it right away. So yeah, very, very, very important points here. Cody Norton says 94% of the money on Columbia and it's not moving. Give me Brown. We got Smoking Tree in the house. Great to see you, Smoking Tree. Res Mob rolling with us as well. So let's roll into Brown Bears 7-17, 3-6 in the Ivy. The Columbia Lions 13-9, 4-5 in the Ivy. Francis S. Levian's gymnasium was a laughing stock for a while, but this team has vastly improved from years past. Brown snapped their 3-game losing streak by going into Penn and beating them 71-64. Now, that one loss was at home versus Columbia. Columbia beat them 83-69. This was 13 days ago. And Brown did not look good. Columbia was in control the whole game. And Brown didn't shoot that bad. 43.9 from the field, 37.5 from three. They just got completely outplayed by the Lions at home. Now, we've seen this work for us. And if you want to go to the first bet that jumps in my mind of this situation was us taking San Francisco at St. Mary's. St. Mary's had gone into San Francisco and destroyed them. We were all on San Francisco, and that was a few times when it went from 7 to 7.5 when the line went against us. And I still was confident in San Francisco and had to stay up all night because of the late start to see that cash. And it cashed comfortably. They were lost by 4 in that one. So immediately it piques my interest on Brown. Let's see what kind of points that we'd be getting if we backed them here. Brown sitting right now at Pinnacle plus 3.5, but we're going to go to Bet Online. All this talk about the line movement and the importance of it. This opened up at 4 and went to 3 within an hour and 2 minutes, and now it's back up to 3.5. It is juiced slightly there. So we have a half-point move towards Brown. Take a look at the total here in this one. We have it sitting at 146.5. Opened up at 148, dropped down to 146, now 1.5 move to the under. And then cash flow wise here, find Brown, sorry. We have, and this is the crucial part, and this is right in my wheelhouse now. 18% of the tickets, 30% of the cash is on Brown. So the public back in Columbia, the lines move slightly towards Brown, 39% of tickets and 60% cash on the over. So there's a lot of things that I can see why Cody likes Brown here. And one is, why would this line be at this number anyways? This is the first spot on the board. Now, maybe the Green Bay one is close, although the Green Bay is being bet publicly, but at least the market's reacting. This is my wheelhouse right here. Brown Bears. I'm going to be on Brown. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Floor's yours.
Well, now that we're interested in this and we've been talking about it, let's do a little deep dive in the Bet Online history here for this Brown and Columbia game, because they are, again, in this game and every game, the first to market. I'm looking at my odds screen, and every other book doesn't post an opening line on the game till like 6 p.m. at night, 7 p.m. at night, 10 p.m. at night, the day before the game. Yet I can get at 12 noon, the noon hour, the day before the game at Bet Online, the opening number. And the opening number at Bet Online for Brown Columbia was Columbia -4 at 12:26 p.m. 1:25 p.m. it went down to Columbia -3, briefly back up to -3.5, and then back down at night to 2.5 on Brown. But that first hour shot right down from Columbia -4 to Columbia -3 at Bet Online. So there was definitely some heavy action early on the first hour at Bet Online toward Brown. And look, I actually like Brown. It's not for that reason, but I do like Brown here. Brown's been a good road underdog. Look at Brown here lately. And look at Brown really most of the season as a road underdog. There's been the 1-point spread roll for this team where they've been, relatively reliable this season. I mean, you go back even to non-conference play. 6.5-point dogs, their first game of the season at a very good Colgate team. They lost by 2. Dogs at USC, they covered as 18-point dogs. You go on down the list at Ohio, lost by 5, covered that game. Rhode Island, 3.5-point dogs, they won outright. Okay, Providence is the one they did not. They failed to cover there. Stony Brook, same thing, but they were only a 2.5-point dog there. They lost by 4. Vermont, they were a dog. They lost by 1, but they covered. At Harvard, they won outright as a dog in Ivy League play. At Princeton, 13-point dog. They lost by 9, covered the number. At Penn, in their last game, road underdog. 5-point dog. They won outright. So the road underdog role for Brown has been very profitable for them this season. And sure enough, here they are in the road dog role here against a Columbia team that just lost outright as a home favorite against a very down Harvard team compared to where they've been in years past. Revenge spot for Brown. They lost 83-69 at home to Columbia earlier this season. But you look at the series history, Brown at Columbia, Brown's beaten Columbia on this floor 3 straight times, covered 3 straight times. So they have done actually better against Columbia on the road in recent years. So I agree. Brown for me in this game. And Columbia is just not good enough to trust them laying points consistently. So Brown +4, -110. At Caesars, and I do like the over in this game as well. Columbia's been trending over the total of late 3 straight overs, 3 straight overs in the head-to-head. Actually, sorry, 5 straight overs in the head-to-head matchup between these two teams as well. So over 146 minus 108 at Pinnacle.
You got it. Over 146 minus 108. Brown +4 minus 110. I would like to be involved in that. Billy Friedrich and Smoking Tree both liking Brown. Columbia first half. Looking at Columbia first half, but I like the plan there with Brown. I think that makes sense. We'll see if it pans out for us. I will be rolling with it as well. We move on. 8 p.m. Eastern. We have Youngstown State Penguins. We head over to the Horizon League. Youngstown being good, 19-9, 11-6 in conference. At the Milwaukee Panthers, 14-13, 9-7 in conference. We're at Panther Arena in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We have Youngstown State coming off that loss at Cleveland State. That was on Saturday, 81-73. Disappointing loss, 81-73. They turned the ball over 18 times. They shot 23.1% from a 3. They were 2.5-point favorites, and they laid an egg. They did not look good. Losers of 2 of their last 3. Now, they beat Milwaukee by 12, but that doesn't tell the story. This was back on February 8th. They won 97-85 in overtime. They dominated overtime. They didn't shoot well on that one either, 26.7% from 3, but they took over and covered. Imagine, if you're on the dog, 8.5-point dog, and you lose in overtime. Those are the losses that really you need to shake off and not let it affect you. I was going to say how much it was about to affect me. But Milwaukee won at Cleveland State, beat them 71-68. Then they won at home versus the Norse. This is a good basketball team, the Panthers. So here we go. Youngstown State 11-6 in conference, and Milwaukee just a game and a half back here. Oakland leading it, and then Green Bay sitting in second in this conference. So here we go. Can Milwaukee get the Rebenga here? Let's take a look at the line history for this one. We have, let me get it over here. We have Milwaukee sitting here as 2.5-point home dogs. They opened up at 2.5. It went to 3 14 hours later, then back to 2.5. So there's been a 5-cent move towards Youngstown State. And then from a total side of things here, we are sitting with a 161, very high total. This opened up at 156. We've climbed 5 points on this total. So there's someone sitting there with CLV. And then from a cash flow standpoint, move over here. You have 43% of tickets and 48% of cash on Milwaukee. So that's why there's been no movement, kind of coin flippy situation here. And 46% of tickets and 63% of cash on the under, and yet this has climbed 5 points. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Look at our guy, Son Dizzle, in the house. Great to see you, Son Dizzle. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Youngstown State at Milwaukee.
No, it's not a ficus tree in the background. No, it's just one of those cheap ones. But yeah, in this game, when you look at it here, it's a little too high. I was looking at over, and then it was bet up, and now it's a little just once we get into the 160s, that always scares me off when I'm looking at an over. So that's really the only thing I was looking at here as far as this game goes. Overtime win for Youngstown State in the first meeting, 97-85 back in February. That game went over the total. But again, I believe that game went over the total only because of overtime. That was going to be an under, if not for overtime in that game. What do we have? 80, and we had 154. So it would have been 154 in regulation. So that's why I'm off this total. It's just too high, at the current number. Milwaukee, look, they've won 2 in a row against Cleveland State, Northern Kentucky. Revenge spot for Milwaukee. They're 9-3 at home. Youngstown's been kind of hit or miss on the road. I'm kind of leaning to the Panthers here on their home floor in this one, +3 a little bit. I really like backing teams, especially off an overtime loss. And I think when this fits the bill a little bit here for the UW Panthers in this game. And like I say, Youngstown's form on the road has been more than a little bit suspect here in the conference. And by the way, Bet Online, this actually did go up first to Youngstown, but then went back down. It was 2.5 at 12.25 yesterday, up to 3, but then back down to 2.5. So it's been basically back and forth with the movement here in this game. But yeah, I'm going to grab Milwaukee here, +3, -110 at Bet365.
And I'm going to be right with you here. +3 at -110. I'm going to join you on Milwaukee. All right, I'm starting to see my card come together. I like it. It was not coming together there for a while. 3 games left here on the college basketball slate. So let's get into it. Next up, we have 8:30 p.m. action. A lot of cappers been wanting to talk about this game. 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we have the Duquesne Dukes head over to the A10, 16-10, 6-7 in conference. The Fordham Rams, 10-16, 4-9 in conference. We're at Rose Hill Gymnasium in the Bronx. Now, I was on Fordham on Tuesday, and they lost 68-53. They lost by 15. They won the first half outright. They were up 24-23, and they shot 22.2% from 3. They just completely fell apart. I mean, and it wasn't just a half. Fordham was up at with 12 minutes left in the game. They're winning this one, and then they just completely fell apart at Davidson. So Fordham has lost 4 straight games, and the closest game was an 8-point loss at Dayton. They lost to VCU at home 75-60, followed that up with a St. Bonaventure loss at home 85-67. VCU is 2 games out of the lead in this conference, and St. Bonaventure is 4.5. So, I don't know what to do with Fordham. Duquesne's won 2 straight, but both at home. Now, on the road, they went to St. Bonaventure and beat them, and also lost at Dayton. But they've won 2 straight at home. And we have a game earlier this year, Saturday, January 27th. Duquesne beat Fordham by 9 at home. And the thing that jumps out at you is Duquesne won by 9 at home while shooting 7.7% from 3, getting out rebounded 44-31. I mean, I can understand market spots to back Fordham, but I've never seen them play 40 minutes of good basketball, and it really bothered me on Tuesday when they didn't deliver. So let's take a look here at the spread. Fordham sitting here at +3. They opened up at 3. It went to 2.5 this morning, so it stayed at 3 for a long time. And now it's back at 3. It's juiced towards Fordham. Then from a total standpoint here, we're dealing with a 137. This opened up at 138, got up to 139.5, and then dropped to 137. And then when we get to the cash flow for this spot, you have 31% of tickets and 48% of the cash on Fordham. This is telling me that Fordham is live here at home. But I hear Kent Davies says Duquesne is a fade team, but he can't back Fordham. Let's hear what our guy Bobano is saying. Shout out to my guy BJ in the house. He says, info on this game, market indicates my system shows Fordham is live here. Yeah, I mean, and the reason why I am hesitant is because I have a clear recency bias because of what just happened to me on Tuesday. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Duquesne, Fordham.
I don't give 2 shits about any of that nonsense. Get that junk out of here with the line moves and percentages. Fordham is unbackable. All right. If you're, it's time you realize Fordham is not good right now. What more do you need to see? They lose by 15 at Davidson. It's not even a good Davidson team this year. Dayton beats them. St. Bonaventure and VCU at home, they lose by double digits. Richmond at home, they lose by double digits. Loyola Chicago goes in there and beats them. Davidson beats them on this home floor by 10. They have 0 home court advantage. 0. None whatsoever. Now, Duquesne has greatly disappointed me this year. I thought Duquesne would be a much better team coming into this season than they've been. Keith Dambrot's a good coach. I couldn't understand, especially early in January. Like, they were just struggling. They were having a really tough time, but they're 7-2 in their last 9 games straight up, 6-3 against the spread their last 9 games. You look at them on the road at St. Joe's, they lose by 2. They cover at Rhode Island. They win by double digits at St. Bonaventure, a very tough place to play. Duquesne won 75-69, and I believe that was on a Friday night in that game. Back-to-back home wins coming into this game against St. Joe's. St. Louis isn't very good this year, but they took care of business, won by 15. To me, there's one reason and one reason only to bet Fordham, and it's because you're buying into this whole line movement and what's the public on nonsense. Duquesne for me, minus 143 at Botano.
Let's lock you in with Duquesne and the nonsense and garbage.
This game especially, like, really, is there
but I'm just
really
saying
anything to be
the
fearful
nonsense
of other than
one man's garbage is another man's treasure. And I'm sitting here at 57.6% with an ROI plus 11.15% over 125 bets. Is that garbage?
No, that's good.
Yeah, it's really good. All right, let's lock you in here. You have
Like, I believe in good spots and bad spots and betting, bad teams at times and undervalued teams. But my gosh, it's one bad game after another for Fordham. And Jimmy, you yourself just lost with Fordham the other night. Like, the appeal to me with Fordham, I don't get it.
what was your line on Duquesne?
I went money line here. Just win the game minus 143 at Bobano.
Okay, Bobano on Duquesne. I am interested in Fordham. North Ender just moved on Fordham. Matt Complex is on Fordham. I will need a little bit more time, obviously, on this one. Julian Cesario in the houses. Where's a good and convenient spot to stay in San Antonio? You just want to be close to the Southtown 101. That's the only job you have here, is to be close to the Southtown 101. And Troy Torrance says, in a way, Bobano is correct. Yeah, I mean, look, you have complete autonomy here in capping. Whatever brings you success.
That's
here.
right. Yeah.
That's it. So if you're winning and showing your victories and
hey, there was a time Duquesne was very shaky. But I like their game. They're rounding into form. I like what I'm seeing out of Duquesne. They're playing LaSalle in their next game, so it's not a big time look ahead spot. And I like that. They're trending up for sure. I find that Duquesne is trending up. Remember, Duquesne was supposed to be pretty solid this year. They didn't exactly play that way early in early in conference season, I should say, but starting to play better right now. I don't know, Resmob. Are they live at home? Look at these home results. They've been terrible, awful for Fordham. Are they really live at home? I don't know.
Let's roll on. We have 2 games left here on the card, and the next spot we have Billy Friedrich's.
Yeah, I see a team that's 0-5 straight up in ATS at home in their last 5 home games. That's what I see with Fordham.
And you don't think the 3 is a fishy number then? Wouldn't you think that would be they would be a bigger dog?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I get it, but
that's all good. A pig milk play today here from our guy Billy Friedrich is the under 159.5. He's going for 4 in a row here for the Fairfield Stags. We head back to the Metro Atlantic, 16-10, 10-5 in conference at the Winnipeg Bobcats, 19-6, 11-3 in conference. We're in Hamden, Connecticut for this spot. Fairfield just beat Mount St. Mary's. We talked about that spot. Fairfield shot very, very well. And it kind of came out of nowhere. If you look at Fairfield's, I mean, they did put up 84 against Ryder back there, but a very, very impressive offensive display. Now they hit the road. Quinnipiac, losers of 2 straight. They lost to Niagara. These are important losses. They're still a game and a half up, but it's Fairfield that's a game and a half behind them. Fairfield and Niagara, game and a half. Maris, 2 games back. So Quinnipiac not looking good, coming off that 80-66 loss against Niagara, who, as we talked about earlier in the show, 12-1 against the spread on the road. Quinnipiac, 3-point favorites here, opened up at 3, dropped down to 2, but they're back at 3 right now. So we've had 5 cents of movement over at Bet Online. And then from a total standpoint here, we're sitting at a 158.5. This opened up at 155.5, and within an hour and 2 minutes, shot up 2.5 points. This got up to 160 yesterday at 2:20 p.m., but it's dropped to 157.5. So still a 2-point move to the over. And then cash flow wise, 73% of the tickets, 77% of the cash is on Quinnipiac. Line's not moving towards them. I could understand the bounce back spot, but the line not moving. 94% of the tickets and 85% of the cash on the over, and we saw it shoot up heavy. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Stags, Bobcats.
So I've been of the belief Quinnipiac's been a little bit overvalued, a little overrated. I think they're very good, but I think maybe we're starting to see signs of that because this is now 2 losses in a row. They get just absolutely dusted by Mount St. Mary's. They lose at home, 8.5-point favorites by Niagara. Very handily. It's a revenge spot for Fairfield. They lost by 2 at Fairfield again. Quinnipiac won at Fairfield, 66-64. Fairfield's in really good form right now. Their only loss was a 2-point loss against Niagara at home. They've gone on the road. They beat St. Peter's. They've won 4 of their last 5 games. I think there's reasons to like Fairfield here. I really do. Fairfield's really starting to play good down the stretch, playing some of their better basketball at the right time. I'm going to take Fairfield here. And again, I'm going to grab that off-market pro line number, plus 4.5, minus 132. You can get a better number there with Fairfield. We're on the Stags here. I think Quinnipiac, there's a market correction going on. They're still a very good team, but I think the last couple games, we've seen them kind of regressions hit them a little bit. And I think Fairfield here, a live dog.
The Stags, I mean, you would, if this was the perfect bounce back spot for Quinnipiac, we would have seen this go to 3.5 and 4. So it's not doing that. That's you're right. It's got to be a market.
There was an element most of this conference season with Quinnipiac. It's like, how do they keep doing this? Like, a lot of it was just shooting that was not going to be sustainable, and you're starting to see it correct. And their defense still is shaky, Quinnipiac, and that's been, I think, part of the factor here. These last 2 losses they've had, and like I say, I like this Fairfield team. This is another team with 2 very good guards, and when you've got that, you can win on the road.
Let's roll on. Let's roll on the final spot on the board before Dutch Boy Fresh joins us for NBA Mountain West here to close up shop. 10 p.m. Eastern, the Nevada Wolfpack 21-6, 8-5 in conference at the San Jose State Spartans 9-18, 2-12 in conference. We're at the Provident Credit Union Event Center in San Jose, California for this one. I almost on Tuesday moved on San Jose State, and thank God I didn't. I mean, they looked so bad, but Boise State's a tough place to play. They lose 82-50. The last time we saw it, San Jose State at home, now granted it was against a weak Wyoming team who is 6-7 in conference compared to San Jose State 2-12 in conference. They only lost by 5 and looked okay. Now Nevada is a class act. I mean, other than that, New Mexico lost. I mean, this team is this conference is so good, and you've touched on that, throughout here. So Nevada coming off the win at home over Wyoming by 18. They went into UNLV, beat them 69-66. They went into Utah State and beat them by 14. This is a good team that can travel. Let's take a look at the line history here for our final game on the board. Take a look at the cash flow and then hand it over to Bobano. We have San Jose State plus 10 here, sitting plus 10, dropped to 9.5 and back to 10. We've had no movement at all on this line. From a total standpoint here, we have a 140. That's where it opened. No movement at all on the total. We get to the cash flow then for this spot. Now this is, come on. 93% of the tickets and 94% of the cash on Nevada, and it's not moving a cent. Crazy. Crazy. That's just, God damn, I don't want to have anything to do with the Spartans here. But this initial move, too, was a half point towards San Jose State. Wow. And then from a cash flow standpoint on the total, you have 50-50, but 57% of cash on the over. And that's why that hasn't moved. So take it away for us here, Bobano, our final spot on the board, Wolfpack Spartans.
The last 2 times Nevada's been at San Jose State, they've won 90-60 and 67-40. They've absolutely destroyed this team. They've won and covered 4 of the last 5. San Jose State did beat them in the conference tournament, believe it or not, last year. But earlier this year, 90-60. I could only look at Nevada here, but I don't know. You've got Nevada off these games at Wyoming, UNL. They played a pretty gauntlet here. They've got Colorado State on deck. Is the focus there to beat down San Jose State? If it is, they were going to win big again. They're going to win by 15. They're going to win by 20. San Jose State, at least for me, is not backable right now. I'm going to pump the brakes on making Nevada official, but I might bet it small. But I am concerned about Colorado State being on deck, focus being there, especially after the gauntlet that they have just played. But they're playing good ball. They're 5-1 straight up, 5-1 against the spread, Nevada. And they have just dominated San Jose State, especially on this floor. Like I said, they've won the last 2 trips to San Jose State by a combined 157-100. So they have just completely destroyed the Spartans. So Nevada or pass. I will bet Nevada small. I will not make it official, though.
Let's review all action here from the college basketball breakdown. Every single game broken down right here. Bobano gets his card started with Akron. Akron minus 6.5 at minus 132. Nothing for North Florida, Jacksonville. He's on Mount St. Mary's money line at minus 120. Marist, Manhattan, no action. Bobano's on Ryder money line in the over 145 at minus 110. He's on Niagara money line minus 115. And he's on the over 132 in Pennsylvania, Dartmouth at minus 110. He's on the over 155.5 in Toledo, Bowling Green. And he's on Bowling Green plus 4.5 at minus 128. Now, Jay Smooth, Ron Crawford, Matty Ice, all on Green Bay, and so is Bobano. I'm interested in it. Pull one out.
You know what's funny is I'm actually on a lot of these games where the sides are doing what the people that look at the market want to do, like you and Troy. I'm on Brown. I'm on Fairfield. I'm on a lot of these games. It's just, for me, I vehemently disagree with the Duquesne one because of the Fordham issues. But yep.
No, I hear you. I hear you. You're on Cornell. I think it was just the issue that Capper said was you just calling it garbage. And,
for that game, I think it's garbage. No, I think the system overall makes sense. So that game, I thought Fordham's just so bad. It's like, wow, it's hard. Yeah. I think it's got to be hard for the market movers to say, yeah, let's back Fordham here when they're just doing what they're doing right now. But we'll see how it goes. Maybe they win tonight. We'll see.
Well, I thought it was going to get me paid at halftime on Tuesday. Yep. And then they just completely fell apart. Which means maybe do we look at it as a halftime look? I'm going to take a more look at Fordham here. Bobano's on Cornell, and so I'm interested in Green Bay here. But the what Pull One Out was talking about gave me a little bit of pause. Bobano's on Cornell and the over 155.5. I'm interested in Harvard. Bobano's off that spot. I don't know if I'm going to get there, but I'm certainly interested in them. Then Bobano's on the over 146 in Brown, Columbia, and he's on Brown plus 4. I'm going to be moving on Brown. Bobano's on Milwaukee plus 3. I'm going to be moving on Milwaukee. Then we have that Duquesne Fordham argument. Bobano also on the Stags, Fairfield Stags plus 4.5 at minus 132, and no action on Nevada San Jose State. And again, it's fun to have these conversations. And I just think the issue was just that it sounded like a blanket statement. Yep. That's all. No, that's why
that one game is what I meant. I can't get there with Fordham. I can't.
BJ says one of his offshores has Fordham at plus 2.5 right now. And Justin McKelvey says he bets shit teams daily. I mean, that's the sound of a gambler right there. Bobano, excellent work. I'll review your NHL when the show ends because you got a lot of action on those 3 games. Thank you for joining us here every Friday and sharing your hard work with us. Go out there and get that cash, my friend. And remember, Bobano has a new Twitter handle. His last one got hacked, so it's at Bobano Bets. Please go over to Bobano Bets and support him and support the Ice Guys and everything that Bobano does. Thank you for rocking with us, Bobano. Any last words for the Capper supporting the show?
No, just another awesome Friday. We'll be back next Friday. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. Good luck this weekend. Cash some tickets, and we'll see you next week.
There he is, a Bobano. All right, we're going to try something different here for our horse race that will happen as soon as we're finished NBA coming up right now. For the horse race, we are going to try this out. And it's kind of a test for what we want to do when we're in San Antonio all together. But we're going to do heats. We're going to do 2 heats of 30 each because we have 60 members. The top 3 will move on. So the final race will have 6 cappers in it for $50. So we're going to do 2 1-minute races with 30 cappers, and then the final 6. We'll go a little test here. An idea from Jose Sweet Tea Tits Bouquet. And we're going to give that a shot. So it's going to be fun. All right, it is time to get into NBA. Your guest here was, our original Fresh Fridays capper. Has had a great season, a great season, and he had a tough last show here. Lost, went 0-4. Still in the black, which shows how good he's been. Well, I had that last night, absolute debacle. I had a great college card. I had a great NHL card. Thankfully, my unit size is more in NHL than it is in basketball. But I'm just reeling. I'm coming off an 0-6 spot. And, capping the card, for whatever reason, I was like, I'm still attacking. And I guess that's the gambler in us all. And when I made my first bet, I knew for sure for sure that Dutch was like, "Oh, I knew you were going to bet this," and I did. And we'll see where it plays out. It wasn't available on Pinnacle. They didn't have it out. I had to bet at Bet365. So it's time to rock here. Time to rock and roll. Please welcome our expert for NBA, usually on Wednesdays, now here with us on Friday, coming to us from Las Vegas, Nevada. Please welcome Mr. Dutch Boy Fresh. Dutchy, what's good, man? How are you?
Man, the NBA is a hell of a drug. And you're looking at the plug. Yeah, man. I'm good. I'm good, Jim. You know, NBA's back. You know, I hate to hear about your
look at my fucking
Thursday
record.
night.
Look what's happened to my fucking record. You know how much money this has cost me?
God damn, look at that bullshit ass record too. Oh man, god damn. I hate to see it, Jim, but you know, we'll get it back. We'll get back into black and we'll attack it. And you know, shooters shoot. You best believe we're gonna pull the fuck up, man. You know, frustrating. Just to be quite honest with you, I believe the hardest caps in the NBA are the right before the break and then right coming back from the break. So it hit me like a motherfucker right before, and unfortunately, it took you yesterday. I had a profitable day yesterday, but it wasn't that easy. You know, definitely shout out to college basketball, Jim. You know, I have to take it there for a moment because the Gophers, man, is it that easy? Is it that easy? God damn it! I mean, holy shit! The NBA stop. I go 8-1 in college basketball, and I'm just like looking shit, and everything is just hitting. It's like everything I don't even bet hits, Jim. And I do want to ask you because I've been emotional all morning, and I'm pretty sure you and Bobano broke down every game. This is a fucking day shift college basketball card by all means today. I didn't even know half the fucking schools. But am I tripping? Is Harvard the play today? Is Harvard the play? I mean,
I'm so interested in them. At this point, they're on basically the short list that might not get on my card.
Okay.
But we broke it down, and I mean, it's just.
I mean, I get the feel of the Syracuse North Carolina game almost. Obviously, different levels to it, but you lose by 31. You're getting them back at the crib. You know, we're going to get at least 7.5 probably out there. Just keep waiting. The prior 3 matchups, I don't know. I didn't hear the breakdown, so I just want to get this off my chest because I really want to bet Harvard. And I told Cab this, and he's like, "You're going to go on Jimmy's show and open up your college account on Harvard?" I go, "Maybe, motherfucker, maybe." You know, the prior 3 matchups, Jim, total combined loss. They did lose all 3 of the matchups, 6 points in the 3 prior matchups. The prior 3 matchups in Harvard combined total all 3 games of 4 points, 1 actually winning by Harvard. These are close-ass basketball games, and you get them coming off a 31-point loss. I mean, I think I might have to go to the window with the fucking Ivy boys, Harvard. But let's talk some NBA. I just wanted to get that off my chest because I'm breaking down college basketball just like I am the NBA right now, Jim. I'm loving the college basketball right now.
Oh, I feel you. And speaking of the Syracuse North Carolina game, you know, I was on Syracuse here on the show. That was on Tuesday, not this week, but the week before, my first week back with Loshak, and he, you know, he stayed off that spot, and I moved on Syracuse +8, and you know, outright winner here. I love it. I love hearing about it.
My first bet of the heater, Jim, was Georgia Tech against Syracuse the next game because I watched that whole Syracuse game and I said, "Oh, now I'm about to fade them," and I took bummy ass Georgia Tech. You know.
Oh yeah, no, it's you're right on it now. And the problem here is when things get the most important when it comes to March Madness. You know, it's neutral courts and there's all that shit's just gone.
More difficult, right?
Yeah. It's absolutely wild. It's the other tournaments, you know, that go on around the same time that are the most profitable there. But let's get to work, Dutchy. We got a big, beautiful card here, and we start. And Billy Friedrich saying Harvard isn't that good. They're not that good, but they have been improving. You know, but I hear you. I'm very. After this talk,
it's spots, man. It's just spot plays.
I think I move on them at this point. But let's get to work. We start at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. The Toronto Raptors 20-36, 8-20 on the road at the Atlanta Hawks 24-31, 13-15 at home. We're at State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, you know, the new coach idea. I was going because I was on Brooklyn, and I didn't take. And this bites me often. I didn't take the full game under. I took the Raptors team total under.
I seen that.
And that just that one hurt.
Oh, I thought you were staying off of totals.
I allowed myself to bet one under a week.
Okay.
One under a week, and I thought that was going to take care of business here, and Toronto looked really good. And now can they do it here at Atlanta, and has Atlanta given up? That's the question that everybody wants to know, because Okongwu, 10.2 points, 7 boards, 1.1 blocks, is left toe sprain. He's gone. And Clint Capella has the adductor strain. He's back, but he's on a minutes restriction. So a very, very, very interesting spot here with the Raptors on the second half of back-to-back. Let's get to work here. We're going to start with the line history. I don't have it set up, so it's just going to take me 1 second. Then we're going to get into the cash flow. But let's go. Toronto, Atlanta to get us started. Atlanta sitting here as 7.5-point favorites. 7.5 and minus 106. We're going to go back to the Pinnacle line movements. They opened up at 6.5, went to 7, and went to 7.5. So, they're telling us that what we saw from the Raptors was a complete mirage, and it's going to go away in Hotlanta. That's what the market is telling us here, and I get it. This total is at 245.5. This opened up at 244.5, got up to 246 until there was a half point of buyback. As we don't know whether the Raptors can shoot with consistency. They look good yesterday, but we do know that the Atlanta plays no defense whatsoever, and we have a very, very high total. I did cut the pace from what was happening before the All-Star break, because it's not helpful. Everything changes at the break, and I was like, this is not. I went over the numbers, I compared them to what we saw yesterday, and I was like, just let it go. Wait till there's 5 games under our belts. So from a total side of things here, we had the 245 and then the 7.5. Let's get into the cash flow for this one. Cash flow wise, we have the Raptors with 54% of the tickets and 61% of the cash in the line moving towards the Hawks. I mean, this is the type of situation that, I would imagine makes Vegas rich. You have all these cappers with a recency bias of the Raptors looking very, very good yesterday. 66% of tickets and 58% of cash on the over. Raptors on the second half of back-to-back after beating up on Brooklyn last night, 121-93 at the ACC. Gary Trent went for 25, quickly went for 24. Hawks lost their last 2 games leading into the All-Star break. Will the break help them with Capella on a minutes restriction and Okongwu not available? How much will that hurt the Hawks? Take it away for us here, Dutchie. Raptors, Hawks, they got to start it.
Yeah, man. And, I'm going to be quite honest with you. This card, it's kind of the same feeling as yesterday. We got to get out. We got to get a week back into the NBA until I think you really start feeling comfortable. I mean, yesterday we seen some shit. I mean, one thing we do know is some teams turn the corner going into the break, and we can kind of see that continuing. Like we've seen that with Dallas. We've seen that with Golden State, obviously with no LBJ. But these are teams that had big momentum going in to the second half or at the end of the first half, and obviously came out and played pretty fucking well yesterday. So unfortunately, there's a lot of guessing games going on right now with who's going to be locked in, who's not. Obviously, Toronto came in and was locked the fuck in. They finished very poorly to the end of the end of the first half of the season. After making the trade, kind of got a little juiced up there with RJ and quickly, and then it fucking drained real quick. I don't mind this team though from like a starting perspective. The bench is super light, but now that you got the big boy Poto back in there, I feel like Toronto isn't that bad. Now, obviously, when they can't knock down a fucking perimeter jumper for their life, they look that bad. But I don't think Atlanta deserves to be favored against a team this talented by a touchdown and a half in any situation. This, from what we've seen of Atlanta, we can't trust them. A team that does not stop the opponent to lay more than 7. I mean, it just doesn't seem. I get what you're saying, Jim. I mean, maybe they're begging us to bet Toronto here, but there's no fucking way in hell I'm laying a touchdown with Atlanta. If you like Atlanta, I guess you could look first half maybe, because Atlanta does have a tendency to start out hot and then let it go. But then you kind of lose the edge of the back-to-back factor with Toronto here. So I tend to stay away from that. These teams have already played 3 times this year, Jim. Atlanta's won two out of the three, covered one out of the two. We got 247 points total in these games averaging. So it's right around the total there. 51%, right under 52%, 51.7% Toronto's shooting from the field in those 3 games. And these were with injuries too. And we know they don't have as good as the defenses they had earlier in the year, but I believe they have more shooters on the court now. So you look at it from that perspective, they should be able to get whatever they want against Atlanta. I don't mind I don't really do the totals here, Jim, but I do see points here, and I do see value in Toronto. A team that I think is just, they're gritty. Scotty Barnes got kind of ran through the mud. They're calling his ass radio over the All-Star break, So maybe he come out a little fierce. We know he's one talented motherfucker. But what it comes down to me is just knocking down open perimeter shots, because they will have them. Can Gary Trent make open shots? Can Quickly make open shots? I think that the rebounding was the edge in those 3 matchups, especially the 2 games that they won. They're +8 in average in those 3 meetings. So with Capella on a minutes restriction and this big boy, the backup center being out as well, I think there goes the edge in the rebounds. So and obviously Poto being back down low is going to help Toronto out. So at the end of the day, man, I'm kind of leading your boys here. I'm not going to go to the window with it. But I think Toronto with the touchdown is live.
It's a messed up line. Our guy DJ Big Boss in the house. We pray that Big Boss rocks with us in San Antone. Big Boss in the house.
Though?
We love you, DJ. We love you, man. Can Jalen Johnson play the 5 in this situation?
No. They're too small. That's what I'm saying. Like,
so then what? Bruno Fernando comes in?
I think he's too small for Ricky for Scotty too.
So then Bruno Fernando is going to play?
Yeah, I think so. Or they expect a lot out of Bay too, who I think's undersized as well. He's the 4, so it's just like, obviously, Toronto's not the biggest team anymore, losing OG and Siakam, 2 long, lanky motherfuckers. But I still think Toronto competes on the boards with them, keeps them in this game, and Atlanta's that team that just lets teams hang around because they can't get stops. And now you're missing your bigs.
I just, and Bo Jackson saying, I bet you guys didn't know it was OVO Fest last night, Caribbean Heritage Night, and important stuff, Bo, obviously. Troy says that he should bet the over, but he says uncomfortable when the undertrend gets hurt to go back to the well. This just has the Raptors laying an egg all over it. They were spectacular last night. Everything went their way. Who in the world wants the Hawks at this number? A Hawks team that's 13-15 at home? A Hawks team that doesn't have Okongwu and Capella on a minutes restriction. I mean, who would? This should be just a stay off spot here. But Bo Jackson says Raptors going to do it again. The public is on the Raptors, and the line's moving towards the Hawks. God, I'm Billy Tudor saying the Hawks 20 against the spread at home, and it's gone from 6.5 to 7.5.
Yeah, I'm with you. And the Hawks have covered 6 out of the last 3, but they're not good against they're 4-14 against the Eastern Conference, last 18 against the numbers. So I don't like that, But they have been suspect at the house against the number, but it don't make sense. I can see where you like it, Jim. I just think your team's live here a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously a lot of people feel that way, and we just saw it last night. I just feel like it comes to a crashing halt here. This was a bad team going into the break. All right, let's roll on. But I have a question mark beside the Hawks. Next up, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Cleveland Cavaliers 36-18, 17-8 on the road. It's Philadelphia 76ers 32-23, 17-12 at home at Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I was on the Sixers last night, one of my losses, and Tobias Harris made me want to reach through the TV and snap his neck. is what he wanted me to do. I couldn't believe the no-show. I was just shocked at the no-show. In a situation where they need you so badly, he scores 7 points in 27 minutes. Kyle Lowry outscored him by 4. It made me. It was.
I said it, man. When you need him to be your 2, he ain't the dude. He's a nice little 3-piece, but you want him to be your 2, and you're looking for someone else. You don't like Tobias all of a sudden,
Oh,
it's like the pressure. He can't handle it. I don't know what the fuck.
It was horrific. This total sitting at 228.5. It opened up at 227.5. We've gone up a point. Then from a spread, oh geez, sorry, it's already on totals. My bad. From a spread perspective here, let's get this up. My apologies. We are sitting with a 4.5 for Philadelphia. This opened up at 4, went down to 3.5. Now it's up to 4.5. So we have a half-point move towards the Cavaliers. Cash flow wise here, we have 84% of the tickets and 86% of cash on the Cavs. Everybody expecting to see exactly what we saw going into the break. And the only good thing about all of this is that I probably don't need, because I moved on the Bucks to win the Central plus 275 during the break. It's 2 plus 230 this morning. Who knows if they lose to the Timberwolves, which obviously is the expectation here. Maybe switches again. BJ says Cavs are nothing going to wait Mitchell's status. The market says he plays. I thought that we knew he wasn't playing. I thought that was clear, at least in my prep work. He wasn't going to be playing tonight. And
I'm waiting.
You're waiting.
I can't guess with this motherfucker. He plays in the All-Star game. You know what I mean? He's out there talking shit, dressing up all cool and shit, and then he don't want to play basketball, So I don't know.
Yeah, he's not endearing himself to Cavalier fans. We all know he wants out as well.
Yeah, he don't need to be there.
And this is a really good basketball team, so it must frustrate people endlessly. Both teams on the second half of back-to-back after disappointing showings last night. Cavaliers opened up their post-All-Star break with a 116-109 loss at home to Orlando last night. Of course, no Spider. Jared Allen went for 18 and 10. Garland 18 and 10. Strus went for 18. Okoro went for 17. Mobley went for 14. The Sixers lost 110-96. Maxey did all he could, for 35. Everybody else was absolute trash. And, Kyle Lowry got the 7 stitches. I liked hearing the fans cheer for him. I don't care. And then, no Embiid. There's talk that Melton is going to be back. I thought he was not going to be back either. When we come here, you have Mitchell as a game-time decision. Lowry out, on the second half back-to-back. Batum game-time decision. That is the situation here. Take it away for us. Interesting spot. 2 teams off of horrific showings to start the second half of the season.
Yeah, man. I'm with BJ here. I want the Cavs, but I need Donovan Mitchell out there, man. You're right. That's a hell of a basketball team, but he's a big piece to it, So, they won 17 out of the last 20 basketball games with him out there, but a lot of injuries, a lot of motherfucking injuries. They're healthy now. They got the bench. They got one of the better 6-man in the game. But without Donovan Mitchell, man, it's just not really a bet on team to me. But a team that we can fade is the motherfucking Philadelphia 76ers. God damn, has it went bad in Philly. They've lost 10 out of the last 13 basketball games. And obviously, the big thing is the big guy's gone. That just tells you how good Joel Embiid really is. Maxey, stud. He's stud, man. He don't play no defense, though. And that's what's wrong with the Sixers. They can't stop. They couldn't stop 5 PSR motherfuckers right now from dropping a hundo. They are soft as fuck. You starting Buddy Hill. He wasn't even starting for the Indiana Pacers. Now all of a sudden he's in the mix. Maxey's nice, but on the D, it's not going to work out too well. Outside of Paul Reed, nobody's really playing defense. They're counting on Kelly Oubre an awful lot. Tobias Harris. There's just you look at that team, you're just like, who the fuck is playing defense? So they can't get a stop. It's almost the same thing when you look at Atlanta. I'm not comfortable. It's clearly Atlanta's spot, but how are you comfortable laying damn near double digits when you can't stop nobody? And the 76ers are the same damn thing. Now, I would see there being value, you would think, at the Sixers at home, because for damn near 2 years now, Jim, the Sixers at the crib have been money. Good motherfucking money. But now, all of a sudden, the Sixers are complete ass. Their starting lineup looks horrific outside of Maxey. Realistically, like I said, Tobias is nice if he's your 3rd or 4th piece. Right now, he's your 2, and you're counting on Buddy Hill and Kelly Oubre. I mean, this shit is not going to work out very nice for the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm not going to lay it with the Cavs here, but it's the Cavs or nothing for me. I like the Cavaliers. I think they're a better on basketball team. The one thing I do not like is the fugaziness of Donovan Mitchell. These motherfuckers like LeBron James. I mean, these motherfuckers play in the All-Star game, are out there showboating, doing interviews, and then don't come to play basketball after you don't play for a fucking week. It's frustrating, and it's hard to cap, to be quite honest with you. So, in short, Cleveland or nothing. If Donovan Mitchell suits up, I'll lay the 6.
And Scotty, it's taken off of Scotty's board. It's not off of my board. I can bet the 4.5 right now if I want to. All right, let's move past it. This is tricky because we have these teams facing each other that both laid eggs, so which one's going to bounce back? Are they both going to bounce back? Is it going to kind of cancel each other out? We have another situation here, 8 p.m. Eastern. Phoenix Suns 33-23, 15-12 on the road at Houston Rockets, 24-31, 19-9 at home. We're at Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. We have the spread here at Pinnacle at 4. Phoenix 4-point favorites, opened up at 3.5, a half-point move towards them. From a total standpoint here, we're dealing with a 233.5. Opened up at 233, a half-point move to the over. We take a look at the cash flow in this one. We have 70% of the tickets and 87% of the cash on the Suns, and the line's not moving towards them. 56% of the tickets, 57% of cash on the over. And, both teams off disappointing performances. Suns lost 123-113 at Dallas. 26th time that Bradley Beal was not in the lineup for the Suns. And they had that 11-point lead, that just disappeared. So we don't know if Beal's going to play because he practiced on Wednesday. Right. We thought he was returning from the hamstring injury and the broken nose that he had surgery for during the break. They are 14-12 without Beal in the lineup. 14-12 are the Phoenix Suns. And this is 3 games in 4 days right now. So they get tomorrow night off, and then they're in action on Sunday. The Rockets got destroyed 127-105 at New Orleans. Shout out to Billy Brisbane, who was on the Pelicanos first half. They've lost 6 of 7. Van Fleet missed 5 games to the adductor injury. He comes back in 2 of 8 from the field. 7 points and 6 assists in 30 minutes with 4 turnovers. Hope that's worth $50 million. Jalen Green missed 11 of 14. I mean, he scored 10 points. Sengun put up 20 and 9, but he got outplayed by Valanciunas. Jabari Smith and Dylan Brooks combined for 16. I mean, Amen Thompson was the only guy that you could trust here. I mean, he was the only guy doing anything. Take it away for us here. Which team bounces back, Dutch? Suns or Rockets?
Yeah, man. This one, I'm not overthinking, man. This is there's levels to this shit, god damn it. And the Phoenix Suns are clearly on another level than the Houston Rockets, man. To me, the Houston Rockets are fugazi. They really are. I mean, at home, yeah, it started off nice, and they still have a solid record at the house. Came back to reality a little bit. But, man, it's big brother, little brother type shit, Jim, when it's the Phoenix Suns and Houston Rockets. 10-2 straight, last 12 meetings. They've lost 5 out of the last 6. Houston has at the house to the Phoenix Suns. And I mean, KD, man, when you lose to Luka, Booker takes it a little bit. These boys take a little bit different because Luka does it a little bit different, man. He's dirty on your ass. He's going to drop 40. He's going to smile away. He's going to talk some shit. I believe the game was on TNT too. So it's just a little bit more highlighted. And we know the little back and forth that we've had with Booker and Luka. But it's against anybody when Luka, it's like, God damn, man, this motherfucker's dropping 40, doing crazy-ass passes, pulling up from 35. This shit just ain't fair. And then you got Kyrie getting Uncle Drew on their ass. So I think the Phoenix Suns is going to be ready to rock and roll tonight. I do think also Bradley Beal better suit the fuck up, man. Come on, man. You're getting paid an awful lot of money to be missing every 2 out of every 3 goddamn basketball games. So would you please suit the fuck up and knock down some perimeter jumpers and maybe give me 5 assists? Obviously, the one thing I do lack on with Phoenix, the back-to-back doesn't really honestly really come in and factor too much here, Jim. Obviously, Bradley Beal didn't even play last night, and I do think they might be even a little juiced up after that Dallas trip. But I do think Phoenix, obviously no point guard, didn't address that with the trade deadline. So still a huge red flag for me, but Houston ain't it, bro. Houston is not it. And last time these two teams played, I remember it was a 3.5. So it was the same exact spread, Jim. A lot of sharps were like in Houston at the house. It was about a month ago, I believe, where it was on this show. And Phoenix smacked them by 16. It wasn't close. I think it's the same damn thing. Same goddamn thing. Phoenix Suns minus 3.5. It's good money.
Let's lock it in for you here. Suns
Come
minus
on, Bradley.
3.5. Beal being in would be extremely helpful here.
It went without Bill, but it's a juicer, and I expect him to play. But I still like to play because someone's going to ask, I'm sure, throughout the day if he gets ruled out. I still like to play without Bradley.
And to get the 3.5 would cost minus 118. Unfortunately, I can get you a -4 at minus 106.
Good Lord, 118.
Yeah.
What the fuck? See, they know. Okay, let's go. Let's drop the 4-piece on that ass. Hey, this is a good play right here. Don't overthink it.
Suns -4, minus 106 here. Okay, I'm going to spend a little bit more time on it here. See if I will join you. All right, let's roll on. Next up for us, 8 p.m. Eastern, we have the LA Clippers, 36-18, 16-12 on the road. The Memphis Grizzlies, 20-36, 7-20 at home. We're at FedEx Forum in Memphis, Tennessee. We have the Clippers sitting right now at -9. That's at minus 101. This opened up at 9, got up 9.5, and came right back to 9, which is where it is. Then we have the total. This total is sitting at 222. It is juiced to the under. It opened up at 223.5. We've dropped 1.5 points. Excuse me. Then we get into the cash flow for this one. We have 40% of the tickets and 47% of the cash on the Grizzlies. A line not moving towards the Clippers. 47% of the tickets, 71% of cash on the under. So big bets have come in the under, and the market has moved accordingly. Clippers coming off the second half of a back-to-back after losing 129-107 at OKC last night. Team high 20 points from Kawhi, Storm and Norman 19, Harden 17 and 6. Real no-show from the Clip. Grizzlies won their last 2 games before the All-Star break. They'd lost 9 in a row going into that. But they won their last 2 games. We've seen this team playing with heart, and we've heard, all the love going to Gigi Jackson here, 20-9. Then he went for 27 over the Bucks, and Zaire Williams went for 27 against the Bucks, and Marcus Smart and Desmond Bane, they're not coming back anytime soon. At this point, Bane is going to be back 3 to 5 weeks. He got the left ankle injury, and Smart is going to be reevaluated in 3 weeks. So it's this squad, this group moving forward. Take it away. Are the Clippers angry, and do they take care of business, or are Memphis the team that you just don't want to fade because they play with heart and they're undervalued? Take it away.
We'll find our spots, but to me, shit, it's back to reality. It is back to reality for these bum ass motherfucking Memphis Grizzlies on a Friday night in Grind City. They'll grind it out, but they ain't gonna do shit about the Clippers. I really don't think that they got anything for the LA Clippers tonight. I liked the Thunder last night. Talked about it a little bit with the boys yesterday, and I thought it was a clear Thunder spot. I didn't think that the Clippers would give 2 fucks. Really, still probably in all-star mode a little bit. Vacay mode as we would say. But you lose in pretty much embarrassing fashion, double digits by OKC. You wake up now. Now you got to wake up, and you find the Memphis Grizzlies where, January 12th went in there, cruise control, first quarter. I believe we're down by 4, maybe even at the end of 1 there. Started off real slow in Memphis, January 12th, and then still plus 12 at halftime. Outscored them by 15 there in the second quarter. I look at it the same thing. I say anything. Clippers will be up double digits at halftime against this bum ass team. There's levels to this shit, god damn it. And the Clippers are on another level, man. And we'll see it tonight, even with the bench. Fuck it, sit. I don't give whoever wants to sit, let Norman Powell, let these motherfuckers get some run. Because they're gonna outplay. We might even get a better effort. I don't care who's playing tonight. I expect all of them to play. I'm just saying, I don't give a fuck who's suiting up. Whoever's wearing that Clipper jersey, I'm betting on them. -5.5 first half. It's good money.
Let's grab it for you. First half clip show. We can get you 5 at -105 here. That's a pretty nice number. Why don't we just see something here? 5.
I thought I went up to 5.5, but yeah, let's do it.
-5 at 105, which means the 4.5 is -116. So stick with the 5. What was that? -5 at -105. -5 at -105. That's available right now at Pinnacle.
And I've made money off the Grizzlies. You know, I've told you they're the try-hard team in the league. I've said it plenty of times. They are the try-hard team in the league. They've been on vacation mode too, and they probably felt pretty good about themselves, you know, still being these guys getting NBA minutes now and going back home and everyone patting them on the motherfucking self on the back. So I don't expect them not to show up tonight by any means, but there's just a talent discrepancy tonight, and the Clippers got smacked in the mouth first game back. So I look for them to kind of lay the smack down a little bit tonight. I look for them to start off early and often. This game will probably be like a 30-point game, to be quite honest with you, Jim. I'm not mad at the full game either.
You got it. Troy on the other side likes the under in the Grizzlies. They're his favorite spots here on the board.
No, shout out to Troy. Shout out to Troy. He said I think his comment earlier. He said I need to start talking about taking my the shitty ass teams in NBA like I do in college. But you know, I see he's taking one of them shitty ass teams tonight. You know, but we'll get there.
Speaking of shitty ass teams, you know what I'm on in the next game. 8 p.m. Eastern, Washington Wizards 9-45, 6-22 on the road at the Oklahoma City Thunder, 38-17, 22-6 at home at Paycom Center in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. What a basketball team we have on our hands here with the Thunder. 25-1 for the chip, 10-1 for the conference. Instead, I want to bet them to win series, bet them to win games in the playoffs. I don't want to I don't want to sit back and say, okay, Thunder, you go out there and you beat the Nuggets in the 7-game series. I don't need to do that. There's still a lot of money you can make off them without getting into the future market, and that's what I plan to do because I like them. They're fun.
They're a good team, man.
Yeah, no doubt. The total is sitting at 243 right now. This jumped up 1.5 1 minute ago at Pinnacle. 1 minute ago, this jumped up to 243 from the 241.5. So that's a big move there in the total scenario. Then from the spread here, I'm on first half, so let me just move over to full game. We have there are some 15.5s, but 16 at Pinnacle. This opened up at 15.5 and it moved to 16. It's also slightly juiced towards OKC at 16. Now I am on the Wizards first quarter +5, -110. You know, I was like, why wait on this? Dutch is going to say, you're going to bet this, aren't you? So I was like, fuck it. So I just bet it already. So you don't even need to, I knew you'd know where I was going here. Both teams are on the second half of back-to-back. Let's take a look at the cash flow here on this one. We have, up here, we have 22% of the tickets are on the Wizards and 4% of the cash. That's it. 46% of the tickets and 67% cash on the over, and it's climbed to the over. And here we go. Wizards got destroyed 130-110 last night in Denver. Keefe replaced Jordan Poole with Bilal Coulibaly. That's your world now, Jordan. You have $100 million. So look, not much we can say. But when you look at the name on the back of the player starting in front of you, it's Coulibaly, I believe it's pronounced. Poole is nonplussed, and so he showed it. He went 4 for 17 from the floor just to get his job back. What a fucking bum. 1 assist, 4 of 17 from the floor. And Coulibaly didn't turn the ball over either. Remember that, Jordan. The Thunder destroyed the Clippers. It was a statement game for the Thunder. And you said it. You know, I wish I had you on the show yesterday. I would have been on it with you. Also, the diddler, Josh Giddey. He is being benched in the second half. The starter was Isaiah Joe. Isaiah Joe came in, who doesn't diddle. Diddler was bounced. Hayward made a shining debut, put up 0 points in 14 minutes. Why do you bring him in? You have so much going good for you guys. You bring in Gordon Hayward. Biyombo, by the way, enjoy that too, Thunder fans. He's healthy and ready to go. Put up 0 minutes last game. Now, I get why they want Biyombo. This is a team that struggles rebounding the ball. They don't have a ton of size, but when's Biyombo going to play? Who's he going to play up against? This is two of the worst three teams in rebounding in the league. The only other team that's in this group is the Pacers. Take it away for us here, Dutch. Wizards at Thunder.
Yeah, man. I knew you were going to be on this. I really did. I thought that I thought the full game has value too, though. I do. I just I'm not the guy who's going to go to the window with it, Jim. I mean, I can't do it, but I know our guy Ski is probably looking at these Wizards again. He was on them last night, so I know he'll go back to the window with them tonight. It makes even more sense to me tonight. Getting 16, obviously, huge win for OKC, man. It was a huge win for him. I mean, it's the Clippers in OKC. Smacked them around. I don't want to say let down, but I mean, are they really giving a fuck about the Washington Wizards? And we're talking about 16 fucking points here. They beat them by 8 in Washington earlier this year. So now you double that up. I mean, I think you could probably get in, that 8 to 10 point loss here, Jim. So I like where you're going at early. I would lean Wizards full game here too. These guys, Chris Bird's been playing pretty decent off the bench. Jordan Poole did give him 18. They got Tyus Jones out there getting doubles and shit. So I've always been somewhat of a fan of Tyus Jones. I think he's a little bit underrated. I think he could help out. I think he could help out a team like the Phoenix Suns. So I think they got guys that can put the ball in the bucket. We obviously know that. They're not going to stop nobody. So I expect this to be an up and down the court game, and OKC to really give two shits and just want to win this basketball game at the end of the day. So I would lean here to 16, and I like your first quarter.
First quarter +5. The sport that you're closest to is the hardest to watch when you have action on it. And I have first quarter action. I enjoy it. It's fun. If I have first period action, I'm a mess. I'm counting down the seconds. I'm just an absolute fucking mess. But I don't seem to have that problem with first quarter. Wizards first quarter +5 already bet. I have one more bet that I'm excited about, and that'll come a little later. Let's roll on.
Maybe right. My bad. Maybe that's why with me it's like I don't like the first quarter NBA because it's hard for me to. It's like anxiety attack, bro.
Exactly. It's your sport. It's I have the same thing in hockey. I can't I'm literally when there's 3 or 4 minutes left first period, I'm pacing. I can't I'm just I don't know what. It's so strange, but yeah, it's a sport that you're closest with, gives you the most anxiety and discomfort watching the when you break it down to a sliver of a game. All right, let's move on. Miami Heat, New Orleans Pelicans next up. Heat 30-25, 15-12 on the road. Pelicans 34-22, 17-10 at home. Smoothie King Center, New Orleans, Louisiana. I had a problem with the Heat all year long because I was sitting on that. It's just $200, but on the +1,000 for the Magic to win the division. Put 1,000 on the Heat at +100, and now I'm just relaxed. I don't care. It's a nice feeling because I was struggling with it. It's not even that much. I don't know why, but here we go. Heat won their last 2 before the All-Star break, winning at Milwaukee 123-97, at Philly 109-104, and that was all without Butler. He was gone from the 3-game absence with the death in his family, so he is back, and he was looking really good too before he left. Let's get into the line history here. We have the Heat sitting at +3. They opened up at +3.5. They're now at +3. That's a half-point move towards the Miami Heat. From a total side of things, we have a 219. It's -110 to the under. This opened up at 221. It's dropped 2 points to 219. Let's get to the cash flow then. From a cash flow standpoint in this one, we have 57% of the tickets and 54% of the cash on the Heat. So not a ton of information helping us there. Kind of a coin flippy situation. We have 36% of tickets and 46% cash on the over. Justin McKelvey is on the Heat +3. And North Ender, I'm only on the first quarter. That's it. Heat won their last 2 games before the All-Star break, as I said. Butler was at 23.2 points per game. He was shooting 56.3 from the field in those 5 games before he got hurt. And DeLong Wright, I like DeLong Wright. I liked him as a Raptor. I like his length. He can defend the perimeter, and he makes his Heat debut here. And Scary Terry nowhere to be found. He's going to miss his 3rd straight game because of a sprained right knee. He did travel with the team. Spo says that he will play at some point during this trip. Pelicans are on the second half of back-to-back after winning their 4th straight game very easily, 127-105 at home over the Rockets. BI not there. Non-COVID illness, but didn't matter. CJ went for 28. Zion went for 27. And Jonas Valanciunas kind of bullied Sengun last night. Take it away. He went for 20 and 14. Take it away for us here, Dutch. Heat Pelicanos.
Yeah, man. I'm a big fan of the Pelicanos first half. I was on it yesterday. It was good money. Wasn't too happy that BI got ruled out, but I still liked it. It was a situation that we just fade Houston on the road. And this is another thing though here for me. I like where our guy Justin's at. He finished the All-Star break pretty well, winning 4 of the last 5. Losing at home to Boston, by 4 points, that's a close win there with the injuries they've had. That's not a bad loss. And then of course beating Milwaukee by 26 in Milwaukee, and then ending beating Philly, which has kind of just been the thing to do of late. But I think Miami, man, right now, you're getting it looked like a Jimmy Butler who was not out partying over the week over All-Star break. He was locked the fuck in, working out. We've seen the workout videos, him doing his thing. It looked like he's locked in. I like the additions, that Miami has made. We won't see Terry Rozier, but I still think Miami getting Jimmy Butler back, even though with no point guard, could run the show, And then, of course, with Duncan Robinson being back, he's kind of found his rhythm a little bit. Bam has been playing lights out. And Tyler Hero has been playing really well as well. Also, getting assists, helping out in that assist role as well. So I think really what it comes down here to me is you got the better coach. You got the 2 best players on the court in Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler, and you're getting 3.5 points. And one team's in the back-to-back, one team's not. I could make a case for the Pelicanos first half, but I'm not going to overthink it here. I think at the end of the day, the better team, the better player, the better coach getting points here. So Miami Heat plus 3.5. Good money.
Yeah, I get it. I'm curious to see how things change. They were kind of rolling without Butler, so I'm curious. There's 2.5s at a lot of these books, but we can still get you a 3.5 at minus 110. But this is moving in the Heat's direction. I wonder if this is the spot to join you with. I'm going to take a closer look at this after the game. Dutch moving on the Heat plus 3.5 at minus 110. All right, let's talk about the game I want to talk about badly. 10 p.m. Eastern. Milwaukee Bucks 35-21, 12-14 on the road at the Minnesota Timberwolves 39-16, 19-5 at home. Target Center, Minneapolis, Minnesota. I have a hunch, and hunches cost you money. I don't know why I felt after getting my ass kicked last night that I should trust a hunch here. But my hunch is that the Bucks come to play. And I don't want them when the game's on the line. I don't know if they're ready for that. But my hunch is that they come ready to go. Now, shouldn't Minnesota be ready for the Bucks? Probably. But I moved on the Bucks first half plus 2. Right now, there are 4.5s on the board. I could have waited. Probably should have waited. This moved to 4.5 about at 11:15. Like the show was on. Let's go to the first half. I want to see if there are 2.5s available, which would really irritate me. I'm almost certain I'm going to see them. Oh, sorry, it's a sec. Get this refresh. 2.5s. And yes, 2.5 at Bet Online, but not at Pinnacle. Wow. This is. Oh, I guess it's coming. Sorry, I take that back. Well, it looked like it was going to come. This was a minus 101 at 11:16, but now it's minus 103. I just feel like the Bucks are going to be ready to go at the tip. Does that mean that they'll be able to handle all game? I don't want to know. I just think that they're going to be ready to go off the hop after all of the JJ Redick, Doc Rivers, all the talk about Doc, all this stuff, all the issues that the Bucks have had. From a total side of things, sorry, I'm on first half right now. From a total side of things here, we have this sitting at 225. Opened up at 226. It's dropped a point to 225. And then when we get to the cash flow here, we have 65% of the tickets and 77% of cash on the Timberwolves. Line's not moving towards them. 53% of tickets, 58% cash is on the under. And I'm okay with all of this. And Derek Parr says the big question is who comes out flatter after the All-Star break. That's my whole thing. I think the fact that Minnesota has been getting all the love I question whether they're going to be ready to go. Now, the Bucks looked horrible before the All-Star break. How could they not be ready to go at tip-off? And this could cost me money. Again, it's a hunch, and I hate playing hunches. Danilo Gallinari is going to be there. I mean, not that it matters much, but they could use any kind of outside shot. The Timberwolves begin the second half of the season off that 4-game winning streak. Mike Conley getting rewarded with the 2-year contract worth $11 per year. And they love him. This team's moving in the right direction. We will see. Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play of the day is on the Minnesota Timberwolves, but I'm on the Bucks first half. Ron Crawford saying Bucks 7-19 against the spread on the road. Yeah, no, they've been atrocious. I can understand why the spreadsheet play today is here. We'll see how this bangs out and hear what Dutch has to say. Take it away, Dutch. Bucks, Wolves.
Yeah, man. Shout out to our guy Ron Crawford. Shout out to our guy Dabby Cab. I see my dude North Ender in the building. Good to see you, my man. Yeah, I'm right with our guy Ron, man. I hope you catch that first half, and then that shit falls the fuck apart, Jim. I like the Timberwolves here. I was on them, a couple weeks back in Milwaukee. Some people like Milwaukee for some goddamn reason. It was only like a pick 'em. My line made absolutely no sense. And then Dame got ruled out, and it went to Minnesota minus 2.5. They smacked them by 20 because simply Minnesota's is a better basketball team than the Milwaukee Bucks. And I understand exactly what you're saying. Doc, JJ, all this shit. I understand, but Doc is Doc, man. It's Glenn fucking Rivers, bro. He is what he is, man. He's not someone that I really trust, and then you're going to talk about Dame and whatever the fuck, Giannis. Who knows when to take this guy serious, man? The jokes he makes aren't even fucking funny. And it's like, are you serious, bro? Like, you're one of the more talented guys we've ever seen play this game of basketball, but the hee-hee-ha-ha shit is cool, but not when we're talking like serious goddamn shit about the NBA. It just doesn't make sense. When you're talking about your basketball team, that shit ain't funny, man. So it seems to be funny for him. And when your leaders don't play defense, it seems to trundle down. And that's what the Milwaukee Bucks do not do. And that's what separates the Milwaukee Bucks and the Minnesota Timberwolves. So one team plays defense, one team doesn't. I think, Damian Lillard put a lot of energy into the All-Star break. I think he went in the All-Star break with a mentality of, ain't nobody talking about my ass in Milwaukee. I'm still one of the better players out. I'm still one of the more elite guys out here. So what did he do? He won did three-point contest. Then he went in there and won the MVP of the fucking All-Star game. That was Dame. That takes energy, all right? That takes some energy to do that. So he didn't have I don't think he had really too much of an extended break, which I thought these boys should have been back in Milwaukee getting that shit together because it's not looking too well right now with the new coach. They don't play perimeter defense. They're lacking the bench. The bench is outside of Bobby Portis. Who are we playing there? I mean, Malik Beasley's probably your most consistent defender. Crowder's a step slower. Brook Lopez is a step slower, and Giannis and Dame play when they want to. So I'm not backing Milwaukee Bucks. Absolutely not. A team that's 1-11 ATS last 11 on the road. 1-11 against the number last 12 on the road, 12 games. They're just not a good basketball team, specifically on the road. 5-13 against the number last 18 overall. And then you got a Minnesota team going into the break hot, 1-5 out of last 6. Obviously, Ant didn't give 2 fucks about the All-Star break. He just told you straight up how he felt. I mean, motherfucker out there shooting left-handed. So if anybody enjoyed the break and should be refreshed, it's the Minnesota Timberwolves who've handled business at the crib all year, 15-5, last 20 at the crib. So I expect Minnesota to play defense. I expect them to have absolutely no answer for Ant Williams. And I expect Rudy Gobert to control the boards a little bit over Brook Lopez and make life a little bit tough for Giannis. So I like Minnesota here, minus the 4 if we can still get it. I think it's a beautiful thing.
Let's lock it in for you. A lot of good company. Ron Crawford with you as well. Joe Yurkovich, DC Capper. So a lot of love for the Wolves. We've watched the Wolves lay eggs in the last 2 weeks. Right, we watched them lose to Boston or to Chicago. We watched Orlando come into Minnesota. Now, maybe because you're playing the Bucks and Giannis and Dame, that it keeps you ready to go. I don't know. I just have this feeling that the Bucks are going to get after it right off the hop here, and we'll see if it blows up in my face. Let's get you the -4. Those are the only two bets I've made on the card, with the Bucks first half and the Wizards first quarter. Let's get you this line here on these Minnesota Timberwolves, and it's going to be fun, man. The playoffs out west are going to be absolutely wild. Wildly fun. And we can get you the 4. -4 at -108 for Dutch. Wolves -4 at -108. All right, let's roll on. Next up for us, 10 p.m. Eastern. Charlotte Hornets 14-41, 6-20 on the road to the Golden State Warriors, 27-26, 14-14 at home. Chase Center, San Francisco, California. Clearly, watching the Hornets play, these guys are playing for each other. The deadline was great. I mean, Grant Williams putting up 6 threes off the bench last night. I thought it was smoke and mirrors and the break was going to stop it. And I was wrong. And it cost me money yesterday. And it was really tough way to end the night. God, what a roller coaster ride I had last night. It was just, I don't wish that shit on anybody. But I woke up slightly in the black and was like, oh my God, I can't believe I made it through it. Fuck. But here we go. The Hornets, are they undervalued in the marketplace right now with players who actually want to play for them all of a sudden after the deadline? Winners of 4 straight. Let's take a look at the line history here. The Warriors coming off the win over the Lakers last night. Both teams on the second half of back-to-back. This is sitting as 13. Warriors sitting as 13-point favorites here. There's been 8 cents of movement to Charlotte at this number. From a total side of things, we're sitting at a 229. This is exactly where it opened, so there's been nothing there. When we get to the cash flow here, we have move over here. We have 81 or 19% of the tickets are on Golden State and 32% of the cash. And it's similar, not quite like that, but the public was backing Charlotte yesterday, and I was like, oh God, this is gonna not go well, but it went very well for them. And now we have 82% of the tickets on the Charlotte Hornets to do it again. 58% of the tickets, 55% of cash on the over. Both teams on the second half back-to-back. As I said, Charlotte comes in off their 4th straight win, 115-107 at Utah last night. Miles Bridges went for 26 and 14. As I said, Grant Williams put up 6 threes off the bench. Warriors coming off their 2nd straight victory, 128-110 at home versus LA last night. And the Lakers, and Steph went for 32, did all his business in the first half, went for 25 in the first half. Take it away for us here, Dutchie. We have 2 games left after this, but this one is Hornets Warriors.
Yeah, man. I don't like what I see in the chat. North End, they're giving us some information. Bill doubtful, Nurkic now doubtful for Phoenix. So fucking NBA, man. That's another reason why this college basketball is starting to look even more appealing to me. You don't have to deal with that shit as much. God damn. Can these boys just shoot up? They just had a week off, Jim. Whole fucking week of vacay mode, and they still fucking can't.
Well, you can't. It's CLV is not the issue. You don't. I mean, how when we've been trained to want CLV, how do we switch that off and say no? No, we don't care. I don't care if you got 2 points better than me. I need to wait until I see who's on the floor 20 minutes before the game starts. I mean, it's fucked.
Yeah, shout out to fucking Mikey Money, the pimp. He does that pretty well, but I have a hard time doing it still to this day. And it's NBA is very, very frustrating. So this game here, tough. Grant Williams 4-0 since they made the motherfucking trade. Got him out of Dallas. What the hell happened in Charlotte? Goddamn. This team though, they I guess they didn't like PJ Washington and Gordon Hayward. They didn't like these motherfuckers, man, because as soon as they got out the door, they started winning basketball games without LaMelo. Without Terry Rozier. So I would expect, the Hornets to be competitive in this game. The Warriors, to me, are going to be a bet-on team for me. I liked them last night against the Lakers. This is a bet-on team for me. They've had 2 all-star breaks due to the unfortunate coach issue and then obviously just having this. So they are by far the freshest team in the league. They realize Kuminga is the second best player on that team. And Clay's to the bench now. This is going to be a team that we can bet on an awful lot. I don't know if you want to do it tonight, though, laying 13 against a Hornets team after, beating LA. But it was kind of cruise control, Jim, little competitive first half, second half, though, quite easily, in my opinion. The Warriors did what they want. I would look for the Hornets to keep it close here. But nothing I could do. But the Brandon Miller kid's looking more comfortable. Miles Bridges is back, got his feet underneath him. And then, of course, you're getting Grant Williams like back in his best Beantown days ever, just knocking down corner threes. So they should be able to keep it within the number.
Yeah, I mean, are they just? Oh God, I mean, it's hard to want to back them after what we saw last night. I mean,
Yeah, that's fourth time now, But I mean,
maybe this group is undervalued in the marketplace at this point, and those ahead of the market keep cashing on them. There's 82% of the public's on them here. I mean,
that's crazy. It's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah. Let's roll on. Next up for us, 10 p.m. Eastern, Denver Nuggets 37-19, 15-14 on the road at Portland Trailblazers 15-39, 9-17 at home. We're at the Moda Center in Portland, Oregon here. We have for the Blazers, you always have to click on this before you can do anything. Sharp out, Scoot out, Brogdon out. I mean, now you still have some players, Simons, Thibault, Jeremy Grant, Kamara, Ayton. God, Ayton. I mean, professional athletes who I can't get out of my. I couldn't make it to the game tonight. There was a snowstorm. What? Oh, the fuck! God, Jesus Christ. So Nuggets on the second half back-to-back after just a dismantling of the Wizards, 130-110 last night. And the Blazers enter the second half of the season in the throes of a 6-game losing streak. So let's pull up the line history here for this spot. We have Portland right now at plus 9.5. Now, I had Portland in that first game against Minnesota. And Minnesota destroyed them in the second game. I didn't cash, but Portland was in that game. I don't know what to do with the Blazers, and I guess I should just stay away. At this point, there's been 6 cents of movement towards them at the number. From a total side of things, we're dealing with a 218. This opened up at 218.5, so it's a half point move. Excuse me, it opened up at 219, so a 1 point move to the under. And then when we get to the cash flow on this one, you have 37% of the tickets, 34. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, that was wrong here. Sorry, let's get to this. We have 41% of the tickets and 43% of the cash on Denver, and then 49% of the tickets and 72% cash on the under. Take it away for us here. Our second to last game on the board, game 28 on today's show, Nuggets Blazers.
Yeah, man. Good to see Nate the Sermon in the chat. See him, dude. This tough one, Jim. This tough one here. I would probably lean P-Town here, Rip City at the crib. Back-to-back situation, travel for Denver. And Denver just hasn't been that great on the road at all, really. They're 10-18 against the number on the road this year. And in P-Town, I mean, against Portland, overall, they're 2-4 against the number last 6. So I would expect, in the last 3 meetings, they're obviously Denver's won the last 3, and the margin is 10 points. Average margin of win is 10 points. So this number's pretty fucking sharp, if you ask me. But I would lean the Blazers here. I would want them to be full roster though if I went to the window with them. Friday night, not much to do. You would expect some fucking fans to show up there in Portland. And try to see the defending champs as well. So I would expect the place to be a little bit rowdy. Maybe hopefully we could see Portland show up there tonight. But I would lean the points here, Jim. But I think the line's pretty sharp. I don't trust Denver though on the road so much, and I don't really think they care too much about this basketball game.
No, I kind of like the under as well, but I guess stay away from that at this point, but I do like it. All right, let's move on to our final game on the board. Then we have our horse races. Let's go 10:30 p.m. Eastern. San Antonio Spurs 11-45, 6-24 on the road. To LA Lakers 30-26, 19-9 at home. We're at crypto.com in Los Angeles, California. Let's get into the line history here. These Lakers are 10-point favorites. 10-point favorites. That's what they opened at. No move towards them. 1 cent of movement at Pinnacle. And then from a total side of things, we are dealing with a 240.5. Our Lakers were really moving quickly, pace-wise, before the break. This opened up at 240.5. Excuse me. Jesus, I didn't. Oh, no, I don't. Is that right? They're saying this opened up at 237.5. 237. I didn't realize that. So this has climbed all the way up to 240.5, 3-point move towards the over. And then for cash flow, we have 65% of the tickets and 68% of cash on the Lakers. Line's not moving towards them. 69% of the tickets and 84% of cash on the under, and it's gone up towards the over. So Both teams on the second half back-to-back. Spurs came in after losing their second straight game, 127-122 at Sacramento. Vassell, excuse me. I always mess up how to pronounce. What am I doing wrong with Devin Vassell? Is it Vassell? I've heard people say both sides.
Yeah, they used to call him Vassell, but I think it is Vassell. Yeah.
Vassell. Devin Vassell scored 32 to lead the Spurs. Wemby went for 19 and 13. Keldon Johnson 18. Shohan 16. And the Lakers lost 120-110 at Golden State without the services of LeBron last night. He's expected to be good to go. AD went for 27 and 15. D'Angelo 18. Austin 16. Torian Prince 12. Take it away. The final spot on the board. Late night action on a Friday night. Are we moving on it?
Shout out to our guy Rez Mob. I see my man Smoking Tree in the building. Nah, Jim. No, I would like the Lakers here, to be quite honest with you, but ain't no motherfucking way I'm laying 10 points. LBJ will be back in the lineup. Wouldn't be surprised if AD sits, but they got, they went to the Bay and losing to Steph and them boys, man, that shit just don't sit well. I would expect them to come back tonight at the house because Lakers up to that point were playing good ball. I just thought it was a nice spot for the Warriors after losing to the Lakers in prior matchup. But the Lakers going into the break were playing really good basketball. You're getting a lot out of D'Lo. You don't know what you're going to get out of Rui, but this kid Austin is playing nice. And then, of course, getting LBJ back with the extended break didn't really look like he even really did anything in the All-Star break. He definitely took the time to rejuvenate that body and even took an extra fucking day yesterday. Didn't want to play the Warriors. So he'll be ready to go. Anything with LBJ's name on is probably good tonight. Points, rebounds, and assists. Number-wise, I would probably look maybe, Spurs here with the 10. It's too high for me, Jim. It's too high. So I would, you get these young boys, Wemby. They all should be ready to rock and roll and play. They played a competitive basketball game, lost, but covered, and a competitive good game last night against Sacramento. So I don't know. They'll probably run out of energy in LA. So maybe San Antonio early. But I have nothing on this one, Jim.
Yeah, I get it. They're gonna want to play the Spurs are gonna want to step up in LA. I don't know. I'd almost prefer them losing by 25 to the Kings instead
That
of.
would have been a lot better because they played a tough team last night.
Let's review all action here in NBA. We have right now. I do have interest in the Hawks. The line makes no sense. Those are my best ROI this year in NBA is when a line makes no sense. And the Hawks are too big of a favorite. Now, that's been working better with closer lines. It's not saying, why is this team such a big favorite?
Right.
I'm interested in the Hawks. Cavs, Sixers, we stayed off, but there's a lot of talk about wanting to move on the Cavs if Mitchell is in. Dutch is on the Suns -4, -106. Beal and Nurkic doubtful. God, the Suns are not a team you want to get in on early. Dutch is on the Clips first half -5 at -105. I'm on the Wizards first quarter +5 at -110. Dutch is on the Heat +3.5 at -110. I'm very interested in that spot. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play of the day is Minnesota -4. Dutch is on Minnesota -4 as well at -108. And I'm on the Bucks first half +2. Hornets, Golden State, no action. Denver, Portland, no action. And then the Spurs, Lakers, no action. So I do have the Bucks Wolves game at 10 p.m. So I got my late night glory here. So I'm going to be okay with that. Dutch, thank you so much for making time for us on a Friday. Our schedule is going to be changing, but it's great having you on Wednesdays because it sets you all up to be so ready for your live bet show on Wednesdays alongside Dabby Cab. But I'll be in touch with you, and we might need some double duty from you too. So I'll be in touch with you. But thank you so much for making time for us. Please support Dutchy, especially our Wednesday night basketball live stream, which I'd like to be a part of. We do have our first horse racing show next week, but then we're gonna have a little bit of time out. But then we'll be in San Antonio as well. So that Wednesday night, All About the Hoops show in San Antonio will be off the hook because we'll be all in studio as well for that one. So then that's on the eve of the tourney. Dutch, and I guess the play-in will be happening then as well. Dutch, thank you so much for your time. Please support Dutch on X at DutchBoyFresh. Dutch, any last words for the Capper supporting the show?
Yeah, man, all about the hoops. Wednesday night, we need you guys to show up, show out. We've been making an awful lot of money. Billy Briggs gave you a plus 340 with South Florida. The Bulls over here the other day. Mikey Money, the machine comes through, and my co-host, as you see right there, Dabby Cat. We are 23-8 in our last motherfucking 31 plays. Me and my guy Dabby motherfucking Cat. 23-8, and that's all hoops, baby. All about the motherfucking hoops. 7:15 Eastern Time, Wednesday night. Right here at Pub Sports Radio. It's the place to be. Appreciate you, Jim. Y'all stay fresh.
Get that cash, Dutchie. All right, the time is nigh. It is time for horse racing action. Jose, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. It's a shame, Dutch. Busy man has to go. I'll have to just send him this one. This one's free of charge.
Oh, look at that. We got it set up. The waffles. I think it should just be waffle. I think we should cut the S, but I love it. Waffle play of the day, 7-0 now. And yeah, what great work. Jose doing the Lord's work for us there. The waffle play of the day now 7-0. It's a pretty spectacular record.
Yeah, maybe if Cab wasn't such a pussy, he'd bet it. But who knows?
Whoa, Jose. What Cab is doing is Cab's making money on his bets and the bets that he doesn't make. He's having a great season.
Don't criticize his gambling though. That's when Krabby Cabby comes out. So shout out to that.
I like it. I like him being defensive. And you are what your numbers say you are. And the numbers say he's doing excellent. Kelly says that he loves the hair. He says he obviously slept on your left side last night.
I cannot confirm nor deny that, but it is time for a haircut, a shave or two. But yes, it's going to be exciting. But more exciting is the PSR Gold member races here. It's going to be fun. Shout out to everyone in this picture. A lot of friends of the pub here as well. And unfortunately, no helmet big enough for Cheshire Cat's massive dome there. But we are racing here in San Antonio, and we are splitting it into two heats. It's not my idea. It was Nasty Nate and Billy Friedrich. Shout out to them. They both wanted it. So we'll both give it to them, asking about two races. So how about it? We were in two groups of 30, randomly generated. This is the first group here.
Let's do this. I'd like to get involved here with the horse calling. So I'm on the first 30 seconds. You do the last 30 seconds, and then we'll flip it for the next race.
Sure. So you're doing the first one for this one?
But we won't start until I hear that nay, Jose. Thank you guys for rocking with us. Pub Sports Radio, Gold member races. Saturated says, how do we know what races we're in? You have to either find your name, but then we'll go through the top 30, so you'll see.
Don't worry. I'll list it out right now. I have it all listed out, and I'll be pretty quick about it. Group 1, Juan Ruiz, Billy Friedrich, Dabby, Iron Eagle, Fanatical Jim, myself, Director 97, Kelly McGinnis, Preston, Donut Silks, Tehran, Ron Crawford, Sharon Pullman, Subhuman, Fat Wally, Nasty Nate, Chris Boggin, Crystal Craig, Seth Porter, Saturated, Julian, Cody Norton, Vincent Ramirez, Joey Harb, Mike M, Philly Eagle Flyer, Connor Mack Picks, Dave Burke, Kong's Clips, and Dutch Boy Fresh round out Heat 1 there as well. So shout out to all of you guys, and we are in San Antonio.
Off and racing. Crystal Craig fires out. Crystal Craig looking strong in this 1 minute race. Kelly McInnes on the right. Iron Eagle also there. Dutch Boy Fresh on the outside trying to make a move. And Mikey Money coming up between horses. Mikey Money trying to get involved. So is Nasty Nate. This is the first time we've seen Nasty Nate even close to the lead. Let's hope he doesn't buckle under the pressure. Mikey Money and Nasty Nate find Julian Cesario right there. And Jose takes over.
Oh boy, here we go. What a great handoff there by you, my man. Here we go. 20 seconds left. Top 3 advance into our race of glory here. Kelly has the lead, but we know that's dangerous here. It's dangerous to have a big lead. Kelly, 9 seconds. Who's going to take it? It's a packed race. 5 seconds. Crystal from the back. Crystal.
Wow, who came third? Was it Dutch or Donut Silks? Very tight there.
Find out. Ooh.
Oh, Donut Silks. Wow.
Donut Silks takes it there. So we've got Crystal Craig. I have to write this down.
Yep.
Crystal Craig, our friend there. Shout out to you, Crystal, for taking Heat 1. And we have Sharon Pullian as well.
Sharon in there.
And we have our friend Donut Silks. So shout out
Who is
to
a
all.
thoroughbred capper right there? Donut Silks. That was close between Dutch and Donut Silks. I'm surprised that Dutch was 6. So where's Said Porter and Dabby Cab?
Dabby down there said right behind Crystal. So it's very interesting. By the way, for posterity, we'll obviously scroll down and point and laugh. Chris Boggin, last place here. Heat 1.
All right. Smoking Tree saying Trae Young over 25.5 is a bag tonight. You know, that does make sense here. Okay. Dav Fenn saying Dabby Cab is not ahead of Dutch Boy Fresh. That was, well, now at least don't worry. The top 3. We only needed the top 3, but it did look like Dutch Boy Fresh was robbed. Now I'm in the second heat. So you're going to start off the first 30 seconds, Jose, and then hand it over to me, my friend. The next heat getting going. We have moving on to the finals for $50. We have Crystal Craig, Sharon Pulliam, and Donut Silks, a man with a horse racing term in his very name, Donut Silks. Big race about to pop off here. Race numero 2.
Oh, it's very exciting here. The horses we have, you know what the best part about racing here at beautiful Pub Sports Radio Raceways, the horses, they're very docile and they'll get into the canals very easily. It's nice. It's great. They jump into the canals. They're very eager to race. So if you didn't hear your name in Heat 1, you're in Heat 2 here, and I'll go through it very quickly here. Drew B, Tori Coker, Randall Sheffield, Ricky Levine, Justin McElvey, Jason Meyer, Nutflush Allen, Ian Shaver, Bunk Hoots, Nunya, Cheshire Cat, Kent Davies, K Wolf, Sam Comer, Big Show, Craig Wilkinson, Rez Mob, Jeff, Ricky Bobby, Jimmy, BT, Bo Jackson, Big Scott 510, Rude Boy, Chosen One, Brown Hughes, Gerald Jones, Joseph Thompson, and LJ from H-Town there. So very exciting. Again, top 3 horses advance, and we are racing in San Antonio again for the second horse race of the afternoon. Nutflush Allen, K Wolf, Rez Mob, all in there in the mix early here. It's going to be a fun race. It's a loaded race as well with Jimmy and Jeff in here as well. Jeff in the mix back there as well. But as always, you want to be in the top of the race at the beginning, not the end. Jimmy, please take your race home here.
Trying to find Jimmy the Bag's name there somewhere. Can't find it, but Craig Wilkinson making a move to the front. So is Browns Hughes. And on the outside, Gerald Jones making a move. We're heading into the final 15 seconds. Gerald Jones trying to hold on to this lead. Can he do it? Here comes Tori Coker. Tori Coker and Bunk Hoots both want to get in on the cash. Sammy Comer right now. Oh, we're in the line. Is it Jack again making a monster move? This is Ricky Levine. And Ricky takes it home. Oh,
wow.
Third out of nowhere. Going to the finals. Fuck yeah, man.
Wow. Beautiful there. Final there. Wow. And Jimmy the Bag comes from nowhere there and books his spot in the final. Ricky Levine, Nunya, and Jimmy the Bag all into our final horse race today.
Go.
Jimmy, how's it feel?
Oh, feels so goddamn good. Feels so goddamn good. But you know what? I want it all. And I think sneaking in like that, coming in third, I'm just poised to pounce, man. Poised to pounce. Just before the race, we cleaned the smegma off of my horse. So he's just ready to go. He had a huge smegma buildup, like just a ludicrous amount of spam. I mean, we're talking, it looked like kilos of cocaine. That's how much smegma we got off of him. So now that he's clear, he's ready to run. So we're pretty pumped up here. Pretty pumped up for the finals.
Well, I can tell you, it's going to be exciting to watch this final race here today. 6 horses down here. 1 minute for glory here. Jimmy the Bag, Nunya, Ricky Levine, Donut Silks, Sharon Pulliam, and Crystal Craig. All the Elite Six right now. This is going to be a fun one. $50 on the line here. One last time today. One last time. We're racing in San Antonio. Oh my goodness, what the anticipation is here. I'm sweating already, Jimmy. Please, you have to take this one home as your horse is in the mix here. We've got 40 seconds left. Crystal Craig taking the lead right now. Donut Silks, Nunya back there. And we all know James the Bag. Late pace for Jimmy. Take it home, Jimmy. Take it home.
I'm liking everything about this. Crystal Craig has the lead. I would like her to win the $50, but my horse does not care. My horse has no feelings for you, Crystal Craig. No. Oh, no. My horse is backtracking. Crystal Craig trying to get home with it. Nunya coming up on the inside. Who will take this home? We have 10 seconds left in this one. Donut Silks is trying to move forward. Here comes Donut Silks. Donut Silks. Jimmy. He's firing off the inside. Go, Jimmy. Go. And Sharon Pulliam. Sharon making $50. God damn. That was an exciting race. Sharon, our winner, $50 richer. Crystal Craig, what spectacular work in second place. And we love you, Crystal Craig. Love capping with you, Crystal. Donut Silks in third. And imagine when we're lit up in San Antonio doing this.
Oh, my God. It's going to be ridiculous. There's going to be patrons at the bar that don't understand. They're going to poke their head around.
Go on in.
Yeah, of course they will. Once they see 30 grown men and women all yelling at a horse race, and they're going to be like, is that live TV? And we'll say, no. Little do you know. No. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. So shout out to Sharon in here as well. As always, email us, pubsportsradio@gmail.com. Oh, my goodness.
That was fun. Thing. That was very, very enjoyable. Extremely enjoyable. Jose, stick with me. Leave the horses up. I want to see standing up on his horse, just so confident.
I like the constant fist pump he's got going on there. I don't know what he's doing with his hands, but he's going.
Pumped. He's pumped. Sean says going to Disneyland. Going to just take off to Disneyland. Sean, you're such a big part of our community. We love you, man. Congratulations, $50, man. Put that on a winner, my man. Let's review all of our action here. Full Gulfstream card from Razor Sharp Picks. Razor, thank you for sharing that with us. I'm going to pop that in the chat once more for anybody who wants to put a little action on that beautiful track at Gulfstream Park that Jose has been to. It's a gorgeous track over there.
Beautiful.
At Gulfstream. Oh, it's Timmy OG's birthday, turning 44 today. So let's get a birthday pick. And we also need one for my man Chang. And unfortunately, I didn't get the best bets from everybody. What a screw up.
I got one for you.
Okay,
Chang.
perfect.
We'll do friends and family right here.
Okay, well, I want Oilers money line.
Okay. What was I bet it? I already forgot what it was. Ron Crawford. It was Green Bay minus 2.5. You could take the money line. I'm sure.
Take the money line. Yeah,
because it's a parlay. Yeah, I bet it. I just remembered. I took it 2.5 minus 120. But I rode with the lads there as well today. So
yeah, I like that. I like that. Liquor Store says everyone put up 100 for the Pubapalooza race. Well, we're gonna do multiple ones.
Oh boy! Liquor Store says fuck it. We're just gonna go to 100 immediately. He says, you know what? We'll dabble with the no 25.
Somebody's gonna make $3,000 right off the hop.
I mean that's what Jimmy. You're the same way though. NBA Jam guys, I'll play anyone, but it has to be $100 a game immediately. We're not warming up anything. We have to play for $100 a game immediately. So
that's right.
That's how it is. Right. Same thing with ping pong as well. You don't get to see me warm up either, Tabby Cab.
No, that's important because you can just mess with everybody's heads. There's 3 things that I do that I won't speak about, but that is one of them. Obviously, no warm up. I did it again a week ago and won 11 straight games. 11 straight games. 11 straight. I went 11-0, 11 straight games, no warm up. And I won't tell you the other tricks I have. Let's review all action here. Liquor Store wants to go for 2 Gs. Okay, well, Liquor Store, let's take it one step at a time. I added the Sabres during the show. Bobano's on the Sabres first period -0.5. He's plus 170. He's on full game -135. Sabres team total over 3.5, and Buffalo Columbus over 6.5. Bobano's on the draw in Winnipeg, Chicago. I'm on the Oilers -1. Bobano's on the Oilers team total over 3.5. First period, both teams to score, and over 6.5. Bobano's got a lot of action on the NHL card. In NCAA, he's on Akron -6.5. North Florida, Jacksonville, no action. He's on Mount St. Mary's money line. Marist, Manhattan, no action. Although, God, that market makes me want to bet Manhattan, but optional misery there. I'll stay off it. Ryder and the over 145 in Iona. Ryder, he's on Niagara. He's on the over 132 in Pennsylvania. Dartmouth, he's on over 155 and Bowling Green at plus 4.5 in Toledo, Bowling Green. And Green Bay, he's on money line. And we heard Jay Smooth, Ron Crawford, and Matty Ice all on Green Bay. Then Bobano's on Cornell and the over 155.5. I'm very interested in Harvard. I'm moving on Brown. Bobano's on the over 146 in Brown, Columbia. I'm moving on Milwaukee. Bobano's on Milwaukee as well, +3. Bobano's on Duquesne money line. I'm very interested in Fordham. I don't want to bet Fordham just out of spite because of Bobano calling it all garbage. And then, he redacted it.
Yeah, he poked the bear a little bit. We saw the claws come out. He poked the bear a little bit.
Well, he redacted it. I mean, look, if he was sitting here with an 11% ROI, there'd be no redaction, but I'm the one with the 11% ROI. Fairfield at +4.5 at -132. The pig milk play of the day is Fairfield Quinnipiac under 159.5. And that is a college basketball action. And then in NBA, I do have some interest in the Hawks, Cavs, Sixers, nothing. Dutch on the Suns -4, -106. We'll see how that changes now that Nurkic and Beal are doubtful. Dutch on the Clips first half -5, -105. I'm on the Wizards first quarter +5, -110. Dutch on the Heat +3.5, -110. I'm very interested in that. I don't know if I will get there. Spreadsheet play today in NBA is Minnesota -4. Dutch is on the Wolves -4. I'm on the Bucks +2. Hornets, Warriors, no action. Nuggets, Blazers, no action. And Spurs, Lakers, no action. And that, my friends, is our show. Our first horse racing show of the young season is in 8 days. It is next Saturday for the Fountain of Youth Stakes, this San Felipe. I think it's the San Felipe over at Santa Anita. And I think it's the Gotham in New York, but I'll go over all of that, and we're going to be promoting all of that here.
I need to look at Marty Drexler again. Son of a bitch.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So our first horse racing show, that's the lone horse racing show before Pubapalooza as well. The other horse racing shows will be after.
I will commit myself to being there.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's great. Oh, that'll be fun.
Myself to being there. And ideally, I will have a new surroundings and hopefully Wi-Fi as well.
Oh, I love it. That'd be dope. That is our show for today. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Look at all the green in the chat. Thank you guys. Kent Davies, Philly Eagle Flyer, Kelly McInnes, North Ender, Bo Jackson, Liquor Store, Ian Shaber. What a great group. Thank you guys. Rem Most in the house. Sean Pulliam, our winner. Billy Friedrich, Viper NB, Rez Mob, Rue Boy, Tori Coker, Justin McKelvey. What a great group. All of you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Voodoo Ranger 95, Ricky Bobby, Crystal Craig. Thank you guys. Nasty Nate. All of you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Truly, you guys make the show special. Saturated, Dav Fen, Smoking Tree. All of you guys. Thank you. And Jose, will you please take us home, my friend? Take us home.
Yep. Shout out to everyone. Like you just said, we appreciate all of you guys. Can't wait again. Pubapalooza coming up. We're almost to that month, that beautiful month of March. A lot of great things happening in March. Pubapalooza, baseball opening day. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. By the way, I believe technically that game in South Korea, I think it's the 24th, think it's like the 20th, something like that. I know it's early, and I believe it's during Pubapalooza. So we'll have baseball to bet on during Pubapalooza. So that'll be a whole lot of fun. I cannot wait. Thank you guys as always. Till then, see you guys next week. And don't forget, Nadu show on Saturday and the live streams on Saturday too. So we'll be here. So don't worry about that. Let's get it. Leche a los bookmeg.